an hour, I believe. So it's a slow mover. It's a very small storm. It's a very small storm. Again, mid to upper rotation is really the main concern with this storm, but it's enough rotation that a tornado is possible. Not imminent, but very possible with this rotation. So be in your shelter. Other than the tornado, the threats are going to be a very small hail, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gust. The other big threat is a ton of lightning. We've already seen one report of a house getting struck by lightning. So that's another very a decent concern with this. About 43 strikes in this area right here in the last 15 minutes. So even if there's not a tornado, there's still a lot of other threats with the storm. And again, a tornado could be possible here any minute. So it's one of those situations where you want to be in your safe spot because there is that threat. You don't want to have the tornado and then get in your safe spot. Let's look at the shear again. Still on the lower side, but it's a decent amount again over towards Linden Elementary now. This is really getting close to the Oak Ridge area, very populated area as well, right along the Oak Ridge Turnpike. Oak Ridge High School, y'all should be sheltering. Robertsville, Highland View School, Emory Heights, Jefferson Middle School, Emory Hills. Really, that's these areas that need to be under the tornado warning, and y'all need to be in your shelter. So shelter, I'm talking about inner room of your house. So if you don't have a basement, the inner room, there should be absolutely no windows. A bathroom under the stairs is going to be the best areas for something like this. A lot of wind, the possible threat of the tornado, again, still in play here. Let's go back to reflectivity. You can kind of see that notch. That's where a tornado would be if there is one, right around the Orchard View area, just east of the Orchard View area, just north and west of Oak Hills Estates, right along the Poplar Creek Road area. That's, again, moving east at about 20 miles an hour. So Linden Elementary, Oak Ridge Turnpike, pretty much moving right along or just to the north of the Oak Ridge Turnpike, almost moving downtown into Oak Ridge. So a fairly serious situation. Again, I'm not seeing a tornado on the ground by any means, but there is that shear with the tornado possible. Starting to get a little bit stronger as well. We're in that strong category now just north of the Jonesville area. So this is thinking it's a little bit behind where that hook is, that notch that I was talking about. So kind of overlaying it, that's where this is right there. That's where that would be the strongest of the rotation moving eastward. I believe you pronounce that Scanlon. I apologize if that's wrong, but that's the area where it's going to be. Hicks Road, Prophet Lane, Old Harriman Highway, up into Kalida, Old Harriman Highway again, Fairview Circle, Olis Road, Johnson Road, Mahoney Road. These places, y'all need to be in your safe zone. Lots of wind, lightning, small hail can be expected along with that threat of a tornado. Again, this kind of looks like it's starting to get a little bit more organized as well. The main rotation is going to be in the mid to upper areas of the storm, but it's so small, it has all the energy to itself. We really haven't seen a lot of storms in this area, which means the atmosphere is very conducive for storms. Not extremely conducive for the rotation side of things, even though we're seeing it definitely, but because of how much energy is there, when you have enough energy, it's able to kind of rotate itself. Enough updrafts that it's getting twisted up into the updraft, and that's giving us that hook echo, that notch we like to call it, right over Kalida, and that's moving into Oak Ridge. So we have the tracker on it now. Norwood Elementary here in just a couple of minutes. Linden Elementary, Poplar, Batley, Willowbrook Elementary, and Robertsville at 1:11. So this is moving pretty slowly. You have time to get to your shelter, but definitely do that. And we're even starting to see a little bit more of that darker, deep color. That could be some hail associated with this. Really on the smaller side, but up to quarter-size hail is definitely possible. Let's keep looking at that shear. Yep, definitely a decent amount of shear. Kalida pretty much right over there. and moving eastward. This will cross pretty much right into downtown Oak Ridge. So Willowbrook Elementary, Robertsville, Oak Ridge High School, Highland View School, Amory Heights, Jefferson Middle School, Amory Hills, and continuing east into western Knox County once again. This will go into 1:30, so over the next few minutes. It's 12:59 right now, so 30 more minutes. Again, this is moving very, very slowly, but eventually Edgemore, Butchfield Heights, Solway, y'all need to be in your safe zone as well. Valley View, Bull Run, Claxton Elementary, Brookhaven, eventually even Carnes Middle School once this does continue towards the east. Again, moving slowly, but it will, it looks like it's staying together pretty well and eventually moving into, this is the Knox County line right here, so eventually it will move into the Knox County, western side of Knox County. Again, let me zoom out real quick. We have a couple more warnings in place. This is going to be Unicoi County as well as Hawkins County. No tornado with this, but a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for those two counties for 50, 60 mile an hour winds. They just canceled the Hawkins County one, but hey, we do have a tornado warning in Anderson County, western Knox County. It is now 1 o'clock, top of the hour, so if you're just joining us, let's get back on that storm because there is a tornado warning. Not a tornado on the ground, but some decent rotation, mid to upper level rotation, and a tornado is either possible or imminent, as you really can see that hook echo, that rotation that's visible from the reflectivity just east of Kalida, just north and west of Oak Hills Estates, moving into the Linden Elementary area, just east of Orchard View. If there's a tornado, and if there will be a tornado, it's going to be right in this area, right here, where you see that hook. That's where those winds are turning, some coming towards the radar, some going away to the radar. Let me show you all that real quick. That's where those winds would be really the strongest, right there, right over Oak Hills Estates, and this is moving again eastward, about 20, 25 miles an hour, so pretty slowly, but anywhere down the line. If you see your neighborhood here, Tuskegee Drive, Oak Ridge Turnpike, just to the south of that. That's where that's going to be. Let's check on that shear there. Still a decent amount of shear as well. So Norwood Elementary here at 106, Linden Elementary at 109, Poplar at 111, Robertsville eventually at 115, and Oak Ridge at 116. Again, if there's a tornado, this is going to track downtown Oak Ridge. So if you're driving, pull over, don't park under an overpass, but get inside, get into the inner part of your building. If that's at your workspace, at your home, definitely need to get away from windows at all, if at all possible. Bathroom is going to be the best spot. Under a stairwell is going to be another really good spot. The absolute best spot is a basement, but I know a lot of places around here don't have a basement, so definitely get inside, away from windows, into the inner part of your building. Let's go back to reflectivity here again. That hook echo is still very much visible just to the west of Linden Elementary, riding right along Oak Ridge Turnpike, Oak Ridge High School, South Illinois Avenue, Bethel Valley Road, eventually just to the north of Bethel Valley Road. That's where we're seeing some of the strongest rotation moving to the east. That's going to be impacting y'all. Eventually, Edgemore, Valley View, Claxton Elementary, Carnes High School, Carnes Elementary, Carnes in general, Ball Camp Elementary, Solway, Armhurst Elementary, that's going to all be towns, areas in western Knox County down the line here in about the next 15, 20 minutes. Go ahead and get in your safe zone. Again, not a tornado on the ground yet, but a decent amount of rotation that one is possible or imminent, and make sure that you are in your safe zone because you want to be in your shelter before a tornado strikes. But again, really the strongest of the storm right now, just to the west of Oak Ridge, right along County Boulevard, Illinois Avenue. That's where the strongest of the storm is, with some possible small hail. Very, very gusty winds, 50, 60 mile an hour winds. But again, the main concern for this being tornado warned is the possibility of a tornado approaching the ground. So not on the ground yet, but there is that rotation probably likely a wall cloud associated with this, just with how much rotation we are seeing. Linden Elementary, again, that's the area where it's really the strongest of the rotation along Tuskegee Drive, just west of Y12. Scarborough, again, along Bethel Valley Road, just to the north and west of Bethel Valley Road and South Illinois Avenue, kind of that intersection, and along just east of the Oak Hills Estates. Let me show you a wide view real quick. Again, a lot of us not even seeing rain, but that's really the concern. That's why we're on the air right now for that storm that's kind of spinning like a top. Very, very quick spinning storm. And again, like I said, because it's all alone, it's able to have a lot more energy. We're not really seeing, we saw a line up in southeast Kentucky, northern parts of East Tennessee. This one's all alone. This has all the atmospheric energy by itself. And while we're not under a very conducive environment for tornadoes today, with just how much available energy that there is, we're seeing at least a decent amount of rotation. We're seeing that hook echo. That means winds are going away and towards the radar very quickly. That's where that spot for a tornado would be possible. Again, just to the south of Linden Elementary. This continues to really hold together. It's really not falling apart yet by any means. It's kind of holding steady there. The reds, these are going to go away from the radar. The greens are going to go towards the radar. Look where these connect right here, kind of that gray color, right south of Oak Ridge Turnpike. That's where we're seeing those winds get really close to each other, some going away, some going towards. So there is a decent amount of rotation there, looking a few thousand feet up into the atmosphere. Again, not enough that we're seeing a tornado on the ground right now, but there is rotation that it is possible. So definitely get into your safe zone, get into your shelter. Y12, again, once again, that area needs to be in your safe zone immediately. Let me zoom out and show y'all the entire tornado warning. Again, eastern Anderson County, western Knox County, tornado warning right now at 1:06 until 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. So get into your safe zone. Tornado is not on the ground right now, but it is possible with a lot of rotation just to the west of the Oak Ridge area. Oak Ridge, Linden Elementary, Y12, Scarborough. These are the places that this tornado-warned storm is going to move over. We're talking about Tuskegee Drive, excuse me, my producer corrected me there, moving right along that eastward. Y12 specifically under the gun here in about 3 or 4 minutes. Y'all need to be in your safe shelter right now. And then eventually South Illinois Avenue, this is again moving east at about 20 miles an hour. So you have time, get in your safe zone. Again, eastern Anderson County, Scarborough, Bethel Valley Road, and South Illinois Avenue, Edgemore Road, Edgemore proper, Oak Ridge Estates. This is going to move, this strong rotation is going to move just to the south of Oak Ridge proper. But I'm very concerned for Y12 going into Scarborough with strong rotation. Again, not a tornado on the ground, but lots of rotation, definitely possible or imminent in the next few minutes. That's why we have that tornado warning in effect from the National Weather Service. And eventually down the line, let me go ahead and call out some of these communities so y'all are aware and are not taken by surprise by this. Eventually, St. Mary's School, AMSE, Y12, and then well down the line, Birchfield Heights, Amherst Elementary, Pleasant Hills, Bellbridge, Powell Elementary, Black Oak, just to the west of Knoxville. Maynardville Elementary, Pellissippi Community College as well needs to be keeping an eye on this and eventually getting into your safe zone as well. Fair Oaks, Amherst, Carnes, again, Edgemore, Birchfield Heights, Solway as well, along Oak Ridge Highway. That's where this will be in about the next 15 to 20 minutes. Let me show you where it is right now. The rotation, at least, is very strong. Right to the southwest of Oak Ridge, we're still seeing that very strong hook echo. Again, where the winds are coming towards the radar and away from the radar very quickly, that's that spot where we're going to see it. So right in this area here along Tuskegee Drive, just to the south of Oak Ridge Turnpike, right in this area here, just to the west of Y12. that's really the spot that this is going to be tracking almost directly over. Again, not a tornado on the ground, but it is a concern that we're seeing some decent rotation. Let me show you that shear one more time, that velocity there. We are seeing those reds and the greens together again, just to the west of Bethel Valley Road. This is about to cross Bethel Valley Road, just to the southwest of Scarborough, Solway, Butchfield Heights, again, eastern Anderson County and western Knox County under the gun for this tornado warning. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Ken Weathers over in the other weather center we have over there. Hey, Ken.
Hey, Theo, thanks a lot. Yeah, tornado warning still going to be going on here till 1:30, the way it looks at Eastern time. So again, especially these area schools, right? We're right in the middle of school. There's Linden Elementary right through here, Norwood Elementary coming up at about 1:12. This storm could be close to your area, so please make sure you are in your safe area. Over the downtown Oak Ridge area right now, where you see this brighter pink, that's most likely going to be some hail being produced by this. That's what we're seeing here in the purple. If we have a tornado, it would be in this area right here where you see this little notch that's coming in. So anybody working at Y12, let's make sure you're in your safe spot as well, as this is going to be moving right over the southern part of the complex. They are very close to it. And you can see this is moving east at about 20 miles per hour. So even Oak Ridge High School down the pike, if this stays on this path, you could be impacted with it. It sounds like we're getting some rain here at our studio. So guys, if you want to go ahead and fire up the generator just to be safe as well. So again, we're talking about the Norwood community. That's at 114. Linden Elementary itself, it's right about there right now. Robertsville, we're talking 120. Downtown Oak Ridge, 121. That's where we're seeing some of that heavy rainfall and most likely some hail right now. And Oak Ridge High School itself at about 123. So if you're back towards the Scarborough community, you need to make sure you're going to be in your safe spot, as well as this storm could be tracking in your direction. Looks like it's going to be moving right along, or maybe just to the south of 62 or Oak Ridge Highway right through here. So areas to the south, even HVA, all the campuses there, you need to go ahead and think about getting in your safe area now. I would do that just to be safe. So the middle school, high school, elementary school, all within a block there of each other, go ahead and do that. Solway down through about Robinson's Crossroads as well. Good idea to go ahead and be in your safe spot. But again, this tornado warning we have officially goes until 1:30. So about another 20 minutes from right now, 19 minutes to be exact. Not guaranteed that there is a tornado, but again, very good circulation with this that we've seen. There is some rotation showing up with this cell. And again, it would be very close to the Y12 complex, just to the south there of Oak Ridge Highway of 62. And that's going to be moving to western sections of Knox County not too long from now. In fact, crossing over right through here would be the border between West Knox and Anderson County. So that would put it pretty close to the Hardin Valley community as well if it stays on this path. Theo, make sure you're kind of keeping an update on the Weather Service chat there, and let me know what they're saying about this storm as well. They're keeping an eye on it, see if they're going to extend this warning as it goes over the next, say, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and update you on that, Ken. We do have a tree down in eastern Anderson County. That's the report, a 1-inch diameter tree. That's the only report that I'm seeing right now on National Weather Service chat. But again, this storm does continue pretty much just to the south of Oak Ridge. I want to show you kind of a wide view of what else is going on. Not a ton of storms right now at this moment, but this is kind of what we were reiterating all day today and yesterday, where we weren't going to all see storms. A lot of us saw some showers and storms this morning, but really a lot has fizzled out. I said that if the sun came out, that would be the concern, and that we have seen a lot of sun here in Knoxville and in the plateau, in the valley, and really the atmosphere has been able to recover. But what I mean by recover is a lot of energy in the atmosphere. That sun has come out, increased the instability, and we are seeing what that's producing right now with that tornado warning. But I also want to direct your attention to a severe thunderstorm warning for Greene County, as well as Unicoi County was under this as well as Washington County. Greene and Washington County. So the White Sand area, even seeing a tiny bit of rotation with those. But these are for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and some possible pea-sized hail as well. Those are kind of starting to move out of our area. But again, the main concern, the reason we're on the air here, the main concern is that tornado warning. So We'll continue to keep you updated. Right now, I'm going to send it back to Ken for more coverage on this tornado warning.
Yeah, Theo, I had some reports that Morgan County was seeking shelter from this. The worst part of that storm is out now of Morgan County. So I'd say for now, we're not under the impact of where that tornado warning would be. It's mainly going to be as we head into southern sections of Anderson, right into West Knox County. So we're talking about Hardin Valley, Ball Camp. You are very close to the edge of this warning, as this storm track we have on it is, again, moving kind of in this direction. So good idea to probably go ahead, even though you're not officially under this warning. Let's just go ahead and be safe. So I'd say from the Carnes community down through Hardin Valley and northward, you need to kind of go ahead and start thinking about or into your safe spot. If we take a look at some of the schools here, right now it's over Willowbrook. Oak Ridge downtown about 116, so it's right over your area right about now. The Y12 complexes we've been talking about 119. That would be very close to that little couplet or center of circulation is right over that Y12 locator. St. Mary's School 121 and Jackson Square about 124. Moving east at about 20 miles per hour. Again, where we see the brighter pink, we could be talking about the possibility of some hail with this. The biggest concern, of course, would be if there is actually a tornado with this cell, and it would be very close to that Y12 area or just to the south. I'd say between there and the Scarborough area. So right down through here as that storm's moving. It's moving just south of due east the way it's looking right now. So again, Solway down through Oak Ridge Estates, Scarborough, even the Y12 complex right over that area right now. Areas to the north, downtown Oak Ridge up towards the high school, that's probably going to be some hail that we're seeing from that. But anywhere where we see this little inflow going right through here, that's where we'd have to keep a close eye on the potential of being either rotating wall cloud or possibly even seeing a tornado or a brief funnel cloud dropping down from the base of that. But areas to the north, I'd say it's a pretty good likelihood we're going to be seeing some hail, maybe some half-inch plus size diameter hail with these storms as they're kind of moving off towards the east. But again, the tornado warning officially goes until 1:30, so another 14 minutes from right now. And again, it's our policy. We do stay on the air in a tornado warning until that threat basically has ended across our area. Theo, I know you were taking a look at the storm to the areas to the north of the storm where there was the possibility of hail. Are you actually seeing any of that as well, looking at the radar?
Yeah, I can't guarantee that there is hail, but near Oak Ridge, we're kind of starting to see that the hail potential detector starting to ramp up a little bit. Pea-sized, maybe up to quarter-sized as at most would be possible. But I did just see a report of some power lines down, some debris near Fairview Road, Coalfield School. So that is a damage report as well as a possible funnel reported. So again, as Ken said, not a tornado on the ground, but there is that very strong rotation, that couplet we've been talking about. And with that, that means at least that possibility of a funnel cloud at times that we've seen.
Hey, Theo, one other thing I've noticed, sorry to interrupt,
No,
just
you're good.
Downstream of this, the National Weather Service has just issued a severe thunderstorm warning. So the areas here in yellow, and that's basically going to contain or include basically the rest of Knox County, and this will go until 2 o'clock. And Theo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine they probably put a tag, what we call it, at the end of this that would say a tornado is possible. So they're saying they're maybe not seeing quite the rotation they were earlier with this, but could redevelop at any point.
Yes, you're exactly correct.
Okay, that makes sense. So again, what they've done is they're saying, hey, this storm could still produce some 58 mile per hour plus winds, but there's also the possibility it could redevelop or we could actually see a tornado from this. So that's sometimes what they'll do. So even though it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, we need to make sure to take this very seriously, okay? You still need to be in your safe spot, and that's going to include a lot of school systems down here from the Hardin Valley, Carnes community, almost getting up towards Powell at this point as well. As this storm continues to move to the east. I'd say we're starting to get a little bit more of a hail signature right there to the northwest of the Scarborough area, but maybe not quite the rotation or the tight couplet that we had a few minutes ago. That said, there's still the tornado warning for another 12 minutes, so we need to treat it as such. make sure you are in your safe area. Again, if any of these communities you're in or schools nearby, let's go ahead and get in your safe spot. And I would consider doing that as well for the western sections of Knox County. So that would be anywhere from the Ball Camp area, Tate's School of Discovery, that's over there near Cedar Bluff, Ball Camp, Carnes, the elementary and high school, and then northward, as I mentioned, up towards the Powell communities as well. Some of these areas, this storm is going to be heading in your direction at minimum. We're going to be seeing some hail with this, maybe 1 inch in diameter or greater, and also the possibility of a tornado. Again, the storm that prompted the tornado warning would be this part of the cell. So it's just east of the Y-12 area now and pretty close to Scarborough, kind of where you see, kind of looks like a comma-shaped cloud right where it would come into there. That would be what we call the inflow area, where the air or the wind is coming into and wrapping around that. Still no guarantee there's a tornado. There could be what we call a wall cloud or a descending low-hanging cloud, and maybe a funnel that's descending from that. Once that funnel touches the ground, then yeah, you have a tornado. But even if you see the funnel, they will go ahead and issue a tornado warning. There's been no confirmation of any of those at this point. This is what we call radar indicated, in the sense that it looked very promising that it could be a tornado on radar. And out of caution, that's often what they will do. So again, make sure you're in your safe spot anywhere from the Scarborough community now making their way into West Knox County. So the crooked line there along the river, that's where we're talking about making its way into west side of Knox County. So once it gets east of Scarborough, we're going to be in the west side of Knox County. And again, that's going to include the Hardin Valley community up through Carnes and even up towards Powell, Claxton as well. Claxton's going to be there and close to Anderson County as well, Anderson, Knox County area. So that's moving east. Just again, pick out your communities here. Birchfield Heights around 127, Valley View Heights 132, Oak Ridge Estates at 133, and Wexford Downs, that's a subdivision at 133. A couple things we also keep an eye on is what's that VTI. It's called a virtual threat index. Often that kind of lets us know if that storm is increasing or decreasing in strength. So each new scan that comes in, we always keep an eye on that. It's been hovering in that 2.7 to 2.8 range. So elevated, but not overly concerning. Sometimes when it gets above the 5, 6, 7s, that's when it gets extremely concerning. But out of caution, just like the Weather Service did, it makes total sense. They issued this tornado warning for Anderson County that goes until 1:30, another 10 minutes from now. And then downstream of that, they've issued the severe thunderstorm warning for Knox County that will go until 2 o'clock. Back towards the west, this area we will keep an eye on. I know Morgan County earlier, they had said that they were in their safety protocols for schools. I think at this point we are okay, especially back towards the Wartburg area. Oliver Springs, I'd wait just a couple of more minutes. They're right on the border there between Roane, Anderson, and Morgan counties. I'd wait just a bit. And I'm going to keep an eye on the cell that's to the west here between the Dillis community and Blair. It's kind of following right behind the storm that has the tornado warning on it. So it may be running into more of a less conducive environment, let's say, but something we will certainly keep an eye on. Kind of a wider perspective here, I wanted to show you there are other storms. We mentioned the ones up towards the Tri-Cities, but notice there are some up into Scott County near Oneida. Those are some of the areas that saw the showers and storms earlier today, so the atmosphere a little more worked over or not real conducive, let's say, for additional storm development for now, but it's something we'll keep an eye on. But again, there's the cell right there along 62, Oak Ridge Highway area, just near the Scarborough community. It looks like it's just past Y-12. I would wait just a little bit longer with this second cell that's coming in between Blair and Coalfield. That's going to be right on the Morgan and portions of Roane County border that's moving east. But officially, the tornado warning goes until 1:30 for this area right through here. It would be very close, as you can see, Pellissippi State's right down through here. Hardin Valley, Pellissippi State. So this is where 62 basically turns and goes towards Pellissippi Parkway. So these areas right through here is where we would be keeping a very close eye on it if there's a tornado. To the north of Solway, that's where our core of hail would most likely be. So right through here, that area is where we'll keep a very close eye on. But again, these times are going to continue to update as the new scans come in on the radar. So those are where you want to focus. Make sure if you're in any of these areas, you're in your safe spot. Emory Valley, 128, Valley View Heights, 135, Oak Ridge Estates, 136, and Wexford Downs at about 136 as well. Still moving east at about 20 miles per hour. And a couple other explainers here. It's saying hail 100%. So the computer says, yes, there is hail in there. And it's saying the chance of seeing severe hail, that's greater than 1 inch in diameter, about an 80% chance. And the computer's estimating maybe the largest hail would be around 1.5 inches. Now, again, that's probably a loft before it reaches the ground, but I'd say we're at least seeing some dime size, maybe some quarter size hail with these cells as well, especially near Birchfield Heights and Solway. Yeah,
you are exactly right, and
Okay.
the computer's right. We do have a report of some dime-sized hail in the Y12 community there in South Oak Ridge. Also still that report of, I think this is another report of a funnel cloud as well off of Castle Road in Morgan County. So that was a few minutes ago, back when it was a little bit further to the west in Morgan County, but still that rotation is still there, same storm, so a funnel cloud is definitely possible, and even a tornado is possible, but as Ken said, this is starting to weaken, at least a little bit rotation-wise. This is starting to turn into, from a tornado threat to a little bit more of a hail threat as these colors get ramped up a little bit. We've confirmed that there is dime-sized hail on the ground, and even up to quarter-sized is at least a possibility.
All right, Theo, thanks a lot. I'm getting a map coming up right now. We've got some reports of some power outages across the area. Producer Jeff, I don't know if you can go ahead and tell me that one more time for Anderson County. All right, so for Clinton Utility Boards, a total of about 38 there. You can see that's west of Oak Ridge. You can see the Oak Ridge is there just over to the right-hand side of where that 38 is located. I will say also on the other map here on the computer, we have 900 being reported in Hamblin County from the storms that went through earlier this morning across that area. I want to go back quickly to the radar and show you the latest scan. This cell that we're watching right there would be between Pellissippi State and the Solway community. If there's a tornado or a funnel cloud, it would be right in this location, continuing to move towards the Carnes Ball Camp area. It's right on the edge of where the tornado warning is. You can see the flashing red line to the west is where the tornado warning is for another 5 minutes. But again, what they've done out ahead of this, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for these same areas that includes West Knoxville all the way to the east side of the county. But here's the thing, even though, treat it, please, seriously, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, could easily be seeing some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds or greater. But also what they did is a notation they put that a tornado is possible. Because with this cell, if it moves eastward and maybe it comes into an environment that's more friendly for tornado development, let's say, then yes, it could quickly develop. We've not had any thunderstorms for the most part, areas to the east of this cell. We have a few right over the downtown area, but if it continues to move east or just south of due east, it could still maybe quickly spin up. So let's go ahead and be in your safe area to be safe, right? We need to anyway, especially with school in session here at 1:26. And that's going to include the Carnes Ball Camp, Tate School of Discovery, as I mentioned, that's over on the Cedar Bluff area, right next to Cedar Bluff Elementary. They're kind of in a row there between Middlebrook and Cedar Bluff. And then up towards the Amherst communities, you get over towards Ball Road, Ball Camp. We're talking about in that areas, up through Powell, middle and high school, elementary as well. You're on the fringe of that, but I would say a good idea to make sure you're in your safe spot as well. New school year, right? Hopefully we've already practiced our severe weather safety rules, but it's a good time to go ahead and start now. Teachers, make sure we're doing that. Administrators as well. This right here, where we're seeing the brighter purple, even into almost a black shading, that's where our hail core would be with this storm. So again, we could easily be talking about some dime size to maybe quarter size hail. Officially, you get above a quarter size, which is a 25-cent piece we're talking about here, 1 inch in diameter. That's what the size of a quarter is. And by definition, a severe thunderstorm could contain hail 1 inch in diameter or greater, and or winds at 58 miles per hour or greater. And that's what we're seeing. Jeff, upstairs, I know I had the camera called up as well for the the Embassy Suites hotel camera downtown looking towards the west. Let's just make sure we keep an eye on that as well and make sure we don't see anything, a type of a lowering from that. So we'll keep an eye on it, but we would want to point that basically to the west, southwest. Okay, all right, so what he's just told me as well, I think what they've done is they've gone ahead, since this is about to cancel at 1:30, yeah, it looks like they backed up the edge of the new severe thunderstorm warning. This will go until 2 as well. So they're going to replace the tornado warning, which is about to expire here in 2 minutes, and they're going to replace that with a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see how it's kind of built back to the west now, and this is probably going to include that other cell that I mentioned that was looking like it's kind of trailing right behind it, and that is going to be the case. So in just any second, we're going to see this tornado warning expire in this area, but it's been replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's going to include the Dillis community from Blair all the way towards Kalita, all the way to Oak Ridge and Y12. Theo, did you have something?
Yeah, that severe thunderstorm warning has the tornado possible tag as well, Ken. And then also another concern that we haven't talked about enough is the flooding. Reports of flooding along the intersection of East and West Vanderbilt Road in Oak Ridge. And really with these storms that we're seeing, kind of, we call them training storms, where they just keep back building behind each other. That's really the main concern, especially since we've seen rain yesterday. We saw some showers and storms this morning, and the amount of rain that's falling in some of these storms is very intense. This is our hail potential product as well. Let me take the lightning off so we can see that a little bit better as well. There we go. Right west of Kalita, east of Blair, starting to see a little bit of those darker colors. That would probably be some of that dime-sized hail as well. We saw that closer towards the Oak Ridge community. This is behind it in eastern Morgan County and western Anderson County, right along that border. So flooding a concern because of these training storms, hail a bit of a concern, Ken.
Theo, yeah, I'm going to let you focus especially on that storm that's back to the west, where they pushed back the severe thunderstorm warning. So in that area, coming back in to the same spots that have already seen the storms move through. Now the tornado warning, again, now expiring here at 1:30. So you're going to see the red flashing box go away. It's been replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning, but as we've been saying, okay, now that warning is gone, but we still have the severe thunderstorm warning as this storm is making its way through the Solway area, moving to the east. If we have some type of a lowering from this, like a wall cloud, a funnel cloud, or a tornado, it would be right through here. You can kind of see where the air is coming in to this storm. So that's where it would be spinning up. Areas to the north, like Solway over to Carnes, this would be hail. Again, I'd say easily some dime-sized hail with this, probably a little larger in some spots, close to that 1 inch in diameter. But as this storm moves east, if you see your community, your school, you need to make sure you're in a safe spot with this, because what they've done is they said, yes, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. We're not seeing the rotation quite as much as earlier, but it could at any point. On the other side of my screen here, this is Lovell Road at Pellissippi. So it's the bridge going, I'm going to guess this is the northbound. So that's going to be heading back into the Oak Ridge area. And the one to the top is coming from Oak Ridge, going further south, crossing I-40, which is right there at the bottom of the screen underneath those bridges. So the traffic going away from us, that's going to be heading northward, I'm thinking. I may have this backwards, Jeff. You can help me. Okay. All right, so flipped. Now, this is our Embassy Suites camera from downtown Knoxville looking to the west. Going to be hard to see as well, and this is another thing. You may not even see an actual lowering from any of these clouds because we have so much rainfall with this. Theo mentioned this earlier. When you have this much moisture in the clouds, you're getting heavy rainfall. You may not necessarily see a funnel or a tornado because of the heavy rainfall that comes from these storms. I don't know, Theo, if you can move that maybe just a little bit further more to the west.
I was just thinking the same thing.
There we go. So you can see that rain shaft that I'm talking about right there. That's where that heavy rainfall is located, right there in the middle of your screen, where areas to the left, that's going to be clear. We're not seeing rain falling. So if there was any type of a lowering, it's going to be right in between that heaviest rainfall that you're seeing, and you wouldn't be able to see it. So that's, again, another reason why you need to just be in your safe area, as we've been saying this whole time. I'm going to move the computer just a little bit here, but again, the areas we're talking about, if we're going to be seeing some rotation with this, it's going to be right through here, this area. There's CAK, so Christian Academy of Knoxville. This is Interstate 40, there's South College. So this is kind of coming back into the downtown area. So we're, again, making our way through West Knox County. I know we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for the Y12 complex. That's going to be from the second cell that's coming through. That also, we'll see, they put a tornado tag on that, which means it's possible we could see that cell eventually develop into a tornado. It may have a hard time moving over the same environment that this one just came through, but let's treat it, again, make sure you're in your safe area anyway. Even if it's a severe thunderstorm warning, we want you to be safe and in your safe spot, okay? But this storm is the one we're really going to be focusing on. I would imagine right now you're hearing the hail on some rooftops, Karnes community westward. If we had any type of a circulation with this, again, a lowering maybe coming from the cloud, it would be right through this area. So we're talking about Plum Creek, heads up, Ball Camp Elementary and CAK, Amherst as well. You all need to be in your safe spots here. So Wexford Downs about 136, Karnes High School 141, downtown Karnes at 143, and Spring Hill at about 143 as well. Again, it's still showing a pretty good opportunity that we do have some hail with this. No real surprise. We've been talking about that. Maybe an inch in diameter, so about the size of a quarter. That's certainly possible. Probably a little more likely about dime size with some of these storms. And again, we're going to go ahead and just stay on the air here because of the threat this storm has posed over the past hour or so, and it's moving into, of course, a largely populated area in the Knoxville community itself. Now, again, look at the number. It's gone up a little bit to a 3 right now, so we're seeing the storm maybe recirculating, regenerating just a little bit. That's why, again, they put the severe thunderstorm warning out, but said, hey, we need to watch this carefully in case we see any type of rotation with this if a tornado were to develop. Sounds like we've got some heavy rainfall on our roof here as well in downtown Knoxville. That's going to be from some of this heavier rainfall that's making its way inside the 640 loop as well. Theo, I'm going to make sure you're keeping an eye anywhere else to make sure we don't have any thunderstorms that are popping up. I know that there were a few more north towards the Tennessee-Kentucky border, but that area that had the storms earlier, it's probably a little more worked over compared to what we could be seeing if those storms were firing like we're seeing here in our area. But as of right now, we're talking about Volunteer Village. That's at 136, Oak Ridge Estates 137, Karnes High School 141, and the Ball Camp area, Byington and Karnes downtown at about 143 as well. So it's kind of moving right along Western Avenue, Oak Ridge Highway area at this point. It's kind of moving in between those two, that and Pellissippi. So there's the heavy rainfall, the camera view on the other side there, the split screen. That's the cell that's making its way in. And it would be very difficult to see if there were actually a tornado descending from that because of all the heavy rainfall that we're seeing within the cloud at this point. It would be very difficult
Ken,
to see. Yeah,
I do want to focus our attention on that storm right behind it as well. The rotation is actually starting to ramp up a little bit more, pretty much in the same spots as the one you're tracking right now in western Knox County. It's training over the same areas where that was about half an hour ago. We're seeing almost the exact same signature as we saw about half an hour ago with this secondary storm just south of Kalida Linden Elementary here in the western portion, west of Knoxville for sure, just south and west of Y12 there, south of Linden Elementary. So really it's kind of like training tornadic potential storms at least. You were asking about storms in the entire area. We are still seeing some more storms starting to pop up closer towards Kerrville, just east of Oneida, west of Middlesboro. So some of those same areas that we're seeing them, and they're not severe yet, but they are still packing a bit of a punch. Still lots of lightning. Flooding would be a bigger concern with some of these storms because of all the rain that y'all saw yesterday. Even this morning we saw quite a bit of rain as well. But I just wanted to make sure we're staying cautious with that secondary storm close to Oak Ridge there in East Roane County, Western Anderson County, as that rotation is still definitely there. It's not enough that we're not seeing a tornado on the ground yet by any means, but it's still enough that we could have that potential, and that's why there's that tornado possible tag that we've been mentioning with that severe thunderstorm, Ken. Yeah,
and a good idea to go ahead and, like we've been saying, stay in your safe area. So what we're looking at here is basically the wind potential, where we're seeing rotation, if you will. Think of it this way: the warm colors, the reds, that's moving away from the radar site, which is behind me. The cool colors, or the greens, that's moving towards. So yeah, we're kind of seeing some counterclockwise rotation on the broader side. side, but still worth watching. Again, this is going to be between ORNL and Y12, just like Theo said, right where we had the same area move through before, the cell that's now moving towards the Knoxville area. So 2 cells that we're watching moving over the same areas. The second one here, back to the south, if we had anything between Bearden High School and again the Cedar Bluff area, that's where we may have some of that rotation. So Jeff, a couple of areas I would check is the I-40 corridors. You're going a little bit further east into town. Maybe take a look at some of those as well. Top scan, that's going to be our Embassy Suites hotel camera. That's looking back towards the cell. The bottom one, that's the T-Dot SmartWay camera. That's Pellissippi at Level Road. Jeff, you may want to go a little bit further east on I-40 if you can on that one. Yeah, let's take a look at that one, see what this one's going to be. So rain not quite moved into there. That's Bridgewater. So again, we're getting a little bit closer into the downtown area. Maybe if they have one facing west, that would definitely be a better perspective here. Let's see when they pull that up. That's Pellissippi and 40. So that's just over the bridge we just showed you a minute ago. Probably going to start to see some rain falling in that area pretty soon as well. Looks like that area back towards between ORNL and Oak Hill Estates starting to show a little bit, maybe slightly better chance of seeing some rotation here. So things I'm watching, the brighter reds, pinks colors right through here, and the greens, it's broad but worth watching. And then the one in front of it that's right there between the West Hills area near the elementary school and Bearden High School and middle, that area as well. So we're getting close to Westtown Mall at that point. So anybody in those communities. So Theo, I'm going to let you keep an eye on the one that's to the west, and I'm going to keep an eye on this one that's kind of making its way right pretty close to the Knoxville downtown area, especially right along Interstate 40, so it won't be long before we start to see that cell move through. But we do have this severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 2 o'clock. This goes until 2 o'clock. Tate School of Discovery. So again, we're right here at Cedar Bluff. This is I-40, and there's Bearden High School. So as Kingston Pike runs right along Interstate 40, that's where this storm is moving to. You can see it there at the top of your screen. That's going to be from our downtown camera at Embassy Suites that's looking towards the west. And then we got T-Dot SmartWay cameras as well right along the I-40 corridor. We're going to keep updating those. So Theo, I know you're keeping an eye on the storm that's to the west of this that also still has the severe thunderstorm warning on it. And it's kind of moving over the exact same area where we had this previous storm move through earlier back towards the ORNL and Y12 complexes.
Exact same areas, and I know you're probably dying to get out of your storm shelter. These are almost the same places again. That tornado warning, as Ken said, has been canceled. It's the severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado tag possible. So it's almost the same deal, just not quite, the National Weather Service isn't quite as confident that a tornado would be imminent, but we're staying on because there is still that pretty decent circulation we're seeing even with this secondary storm. So almost the same situation as what we had about half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago when I first got on the air. Now we're seeing with that secondary storm behind the ones Ken is tracking just south of the Oak Hills Estates area, right along Bear Creek Road. That's where we're seeing some more circulation as well. And I've just been told that all schools in Knox County are now in their tornado protocol. So I guess that means all the students are going to be in their safe zone with the passage of this severe thunderstorm warning.
And Theo, that's important for parents to know. I'm a parent. I know how scary it is. You want to go to the school to pick up your kids, but here, listen to this. They are much safer where they are than they would be at your home. It's a much sturdier structure. Plus, the last thing we want is people running out to try to get their kids. You have traffic jams. You're stuck in this in your car when you can just stay in your home where you are. The kids are going to be much safer where they are than if we're trying to go pick them up. All right, so let's just wait. They are going to be safe. They know what they're doing. Knox County schools, in their tornado protocol, they're going to have the kids in the safe spot, which is what we need to do. So just want to point that out. Again, been there, done that. I know the worrisome feelings that you get, but they are going to be much safer in those schools, okay? Look at the top left-hand corner of your screen here. That's the cell we're looking at from downtown Knoxville to the west, and it's going to be this area right here that we're looking at. So there's Knoxville, so that's where our camera is, about where the X is, and we're looking back into that cell that's producing this very heavy rainfall. And again, it may be very difficult if there was any type of a funnel cloud or even a tornado descending from that, because the rain is so heavy you wouldn't be able to see it. That's what helps with Doppler radar. We're able to look inside the storm and we can see where that rotation could be. Bottom corner there, that's the TDOT SmartWay camera. That's at Walker Springs. See that heavy rainfall occurring there as well. So again, you can probably hear it on my microphone. We have some of the heavier rainfall making its way over the downtown Knoxville area as well, as this is continuing to move east. So this cell from Meadowbrook at about now 145, Spanish Trails, these are subdivisions at 146, and we're talking about Hidden Valley at 148 and Landmark at 149. So again, all this rainfall is going to be making its way right along I-40, which is right here. So the storm that we're showing you right there at Walker Springs, it's probably just into that area, but I would say Western Avenue, there's going to be some very heavy rainfall on that as well going to the west, and probably some small hail. I've had a couple reports of some dime size to quarter size hail, maybe even as large as $50 sized hail, and that all makes sense with what this storm has looked like just by looking at it on radar. I want to quickly take a look again, look to see if we're seeing any type of rotation with this storm. It would be very broad if we had it, maybe right there close to the Rocky Hill Elementary area where you look for the green next to the red. But even if you don't, where you see that brighter red shading just to the north, right there, we could be talking about winds maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. So again, this can do damage. Severe thunderstorm warnings can do damage just with their winds, and that's why we tell you to seek shelter. Back towards the west, again, if we had any rotation, it would probably be just near the ORNL area, but it's very weak, if that, the way it's looking. That would be the area of concern, but it's not as pronounced as what it looked like earlier, and that's a good thing. If we take a look at our shear rate product, it basically cleans everything up, and you're just looking at rotation. Basically what we're seeing is moderate rotation in some of these storms, so it's not as pronounced as what it was. That doesn't mean that it's safe by any means. We're still talking about wind potential, maybe 50, 60 or higher miles per hour, and you can see some of that heavier rainfall now making its way into the downtown Knoxville area. That is just rain, but where you see the pink shading, that's going to be hail. Probably, again, I'd say probably in that dime size, maybe penny size. It looks a little smaller than what it...
Of $50 sized hail officially near Solway Road.
Okay, so back here earlier when that cell came through, we talked about it looked a little stronger, produced some $50 size hail. So that's going to be a little bit more than an inch in diameter. We're probably talking about 1.25 inches. So the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 2 o'clock. We have, looking here from the Weather Service as well. So it looks like they're going to continue the one in Anderson County as well. Is that right, Theo? So
they're canceling the one in Anderson County, but we're keeping the one in Knox County.
Okay, so let's focus on that real quick. I want to show you the one to the west. It looks like they're going to drop. So they're going to be dropping this one. Is that correct?
That's what it looks like, correct, yes.
Okay, I'd still say there's probably some decent sized hail, though, pretty close to that, the Y12 complex right there along Bethel Valley. If you've ever driven that going towards the entrance there, that dark black shading, that's probably going to be at least some penny size, if not getting close to quarter size hail. You can see the camera there as well. The TDOT SmartWay camera, that's 40 near West Hills. You can see just sheets of rain, and that's what you're going to be dealing with, unfortunately, driving through this. So we'll see how much longer they keep this up. Theo was mentioning they may be canceling this.
It looks like they replaced it. So they canceled that part of it on the west side.
That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. So they
continuing both of the core parts of it.
So back towards Morgan County, Coalfield area, they have gone ahead and dropped that part of the warning. So that's good to know. So Morgan County, you're good for now. Anderson County, you still need to be in your safe spot. And again, we'll have to keep an eye right through here, that little inflow area, and then the one that's here just east of 40 now. Those are the ones we'll have to keep an eye on. So Theo, I'm going to let you keep an eye on the one to the west, and I'm going to be following this one that's kind of making its way right along the 640 side of town. That warning goes until 2 o'clock, and that's kind of what we're seeing over my shoulder here. The top camera, that's going to be our Embassy Suites camera. That's looking, now that looks like we're kind of back into a west west-southwest direction. I might even turn it a little more to the southwest if possible. And then we're looking at Paper Mill, the TDOT SmartWay camera there, Paper Mill at I-40. You can just see the sheets of rainfall. So that's going to be problematic as well as you're driving through. But this cell we're keeping an eye on right here. I'm going to try and switch these to the other side so we can see them with our split screen. So our severe thunderstorm warning, that goes until 2 o'clock. These are our communities that were in the path of these storms, and then we're keeping an eye on this part of the storm as well, just so we can see if that storm is strengthening or weakening. So here's kind of what we're looking at now. Hunting Hills West at 149, Canby Mills, that's going to be 150, Middlebrook Acres at 151, and Fair Oaks at 152. So that's the cell that still has the severe thunderstorm warning. And I would imagine we are seeing some decent sized hail pretty close to the Amherst community as well, near the school. You can probably hear the rainfall on the roof here. It is very heavy, and you can see the camera, again, the top left-hand corner of your screen. That's the downtown Knoxville camera. Now we're looking more to the west-southwest, and you can see the sun off there at the base of the cloud, but to the right, that's not a tornado, that's not a funnel cloud, that's just very, very heavy rainfall. And that's problematic because not only does it slow down traffic, as you can see the bottom of our screen there, the West Hills camera near the mall, but where we have this heavy rainfall, you would not be able to see inside there to see if we had a lowering, a funnel cloud, or a tornado. At this point, we don't, that we know of. We haven't seen it at least showing up on radar, but this cell has had a history of looking like it could, and that's why they went ahead and extended the severe thunderstorm warning a little further to the east till 2 o'clock with this cell that's very close to the Amherst area now, continuing to move towards the east. So we will continue to watch that one. Theo's keeping an eye on the one that's to the west, still very close to the ORNL and Y12 campus. It's the second one to move through. This was the first one. Now the second one kind of moving right over the same area. So most likely there's kind of a boundary that's set up there. We look for those when thunderstorms develop earlier in the day or even the day before. And then they can often act like a train track where they can move over the same areas. And so if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised if that storm moves through and then the previous one comes right behind it or close to it. So we could have a succession of storms that will be making its way through. This one looking a little more ragged than it did earlier, not seeing that rotation or at least the possibility like we had just a few minutes ago, at least compared to what it did, but still we need to keep an eye on that. And then the one that's back towards the west. That one is pretty impressive still near the Y12 complex, and we could easily be talking about some 1-inch diameter or larger hail with this cell as it's moving to the east. Rainfall rates are going to be impressive, maybe some 2 to 4 inch per hour rainfall rates if they were to sit in the same spots. They're not, but you could easily pick up an inch plus of rainfall in some of these spots as they move through. All right, we got some video over here. This is from the Carnes community as we talked about that storm moving through. You can see the hail falling. Hard to guess, but I'd say that's getting pretty close to quarter size, maybe just below that, so about the size of a penny or a quarter. And look at the sheets of rainfall, so that's letting me know we've got winds, that are gusting 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. Again, all reasons why you need to be in your safe spot if you are in either of these warnings. So this is going to be Anderson County that goes till 2 o'clock. That's in the Cedar Bluff area, so that would be very close to the one I showed you just a minute ago that was right here. It's going to be this first cell that's ahead that's moving over I-40 right now. Jeff, probably one of your better TDOT cameras is going to be anywhere as you're getting close to the 640 west side of the loop. So if you want to call up a couple of those, we may even see some of the hail with that. And where that dark black is showing up right there, pretty close to Bearden Elementary. So we're near the Middlebrook Pike area now. And I-40, Kingston Pike, kind of in between those areas, that's where we could be seeing some decent-sized hail. So right through here, where the brighter purple, almost black shading is. So that would be the area where we could be seeing hail, maybe up to an inch or greater in diameter. Now, we're not seeing quite the rotation like we were earlier, although that's starting to look pretty impressive, at least some gusty winds. Right over the Bearden Elementary area. If we take a look just inside this, we can see winds, that brighter pink, that's 54 miles per hour. So maybe easily near Lions View, we're talking winds gusting 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. So heads up there. The Sequoia community, Sequoia Hills, the elementary school, Cherokee Boulevard over that way. So we're getting closer to the Tennessee campus. We could be talking about some really strong winds there, so be very, very careful. Even getting some reports maybe up to ping pong ball size hail earlier with this cell back into the Carnes area, close to what we showed you just a minute ago. But even if I'm not seeing rotation, which I'm not, I don't see the greens and reds tightly woven together here, but just that pink that's showing up, again, pretty close to the Lions View area, Lions View Pike and North Shore. I would not be surprised if those winds were 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. Now it's over Maloney Road, headed towards Cherokee Boulevard, Lakemore, and that's over towards Cherokee Country Club, Sequoia Hills, and Sequoia Elementary area. So that's going to be moving south basically as you go down, head down towards the airport there on Alcoa Highway. I-40 at Weisgarber is the TDOT SmartWay camera there at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Top right, that's the cell that we're tracking here that's making its way through West Knox County with the extremely heavy rainfall that we have and possibility still of some hail. The cell back to the west kind of made its way east of the Y-12 campus now. I'd still stay in your safe spot for a little bit longer. It's south of Scarborough. There's going to be some large hail with that. And my concern would be this area, if we had any type of rotation, it would come from right there as the air is kind of funneling into the base of that storm. So I'm going to have Theo keep a close eye on that cell.
Yeah, and a couple points, Ken, to what you've been saying. That 50, 60 mile an hour wind gust potential still will continue. This storm is actually staying fairly strong. It's no signs of weakening. So the National Weather Service has extended the severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag for the rest of really the southern half of Knox County, now going into Blount County as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. A few points that you've mentioned that I kind of want to break down is the rainfall rate. We're in that extreme category now moving into the downtown Knoxville area. So this is going to be along I-40. That's what you can see in the top right-hand part of your screen with that extremely heavy rain. Again, 2, 3, 4-inch rainfall rates. Pretty much right there, just west of downtown Knoxville, Westview, Timber Creek, Bearden Elementary. That's where some of those areas of very intense rainfall is. And then where that secondary storm, we've been keeping an eye on Scarborough, Solway, Y-12, still seeing some very intense rainfall rates. How much rain is that? It's looking like about 2.5 inches, an inch here in Knox County, where it really just started raining. So that's just to show you how much rain we're seeing in such a short amount of time. 2 inches an hour is looking like these rates right now.
Yeah, Theo, it looks like they're going to extend, I think they've extended the severe thunderstorm warning downstream. So the areas to the west, we'll see if it hangs on near Amherst till 2 o'clock. But the new one is right over the Bearden area eastward, and that's going to go until 2:45. So again, still the potential of some 55, 60 mile per hour plus winds, hail maybe 1 inch in diameter or larger, and or still the possibility of seeing a tornado, but definitely going to be having torrential rains. You can see that from our Embassy Suites hotel camera. That's downtown looking off to the southwest, so it's looking back into this cell, and you can see the heavy rainfall, the camera bouncing with the winds, and you can just see the wall of rain that's making its way right into the downtown area. Bottom left-hand side of your screen, that's Thompson Bowling Arena. Now we're looking back down towards the river. So there's the Henley Bridge on the left-hand side of your screen, and then that's that sheet of rain that's just going to be making its way right through the downtown Knoxville area. We'll try to pull back out just a little bit with that camera, get a wider perspective if we can. Maybe hard to do with it bouncing around like that, but it's just indicative of how heavy that rainfall is going to be making its way through downtown Knoxville. So Jeff, maybe a good camera would be anywhere along Alcoa Highway, a TDOT SmartWay camera, especially closer to downtown Knoxville. That may be one to take a look at. But we'll see. The warning for Anderson County goes until 2 o'clock. So that's a couple more minutes from now. Theo, looks like they just extended it. So what they've done is they'll replace that one with another one until 2:45. So it's getting we'll come back to the radar if we can real quick. Getting a little jumbled, I know, but this is the new warning. So it's going to go from about the Bearden area all the way down to DuPont and Cusick, and then back towards the west. They issued another one now that's just east of Y-12, so this area will be allowed to expire. So at that point, Oak Ridge, Y12, another 3-4 minutes from now, you'll be okay, but we'll still need to watch this cell making its way right back towards Hardin Valley. So that area they extended till 2:45, the yellow right through here. And then the other one that they extended goes right through the back edge of this storm, so right on the 640 where it touches I-40 eastward and south. That's going to go into at least the northern sections of Blount and western sections of Sevier County. That also goes until 2:45. And biggest impacts, we could be talking winds 50, 60 miles per hour or greater, hail an inch in diameter or larger, and or certainly the possibility we could see a tornado. We still see at least some inflow is what we call it right here, like with this cell that's back towards Hardin Valley. So kind of right through here, that's an area that we need to keep an eye on. Could be broadly rotating, but where you see the brighter pink shadings, like right through here, that's where we have hail there. And then also with the cell that's making its way now through the south side of Knox County. So heads up Mount Olive Elementary, Moreland Heights, Anderson Elementary, Dogwood Elementary, Bonnie Kate, all these areas, you're about to get into the very gusty winds, heavy rainfall, and potential of hail as this moves through. A little bit further north, on the north side, that's mainly just heavy rainfall we're talking about, like we're seeing over downtown Knoxville. Again, I'm not seeing any tight couplet rotation that would be immediate concern, but we still need to keep a close eye on these cells, as they have been at least showing a history over the past hour and a half that they could be rotating at times. It's quite broad compared to where it was. I think our bigger impact at this point is damaging wind gusts, but that's still why we need to be in our safe spot. 50, 60 mile per hour winds can easily cause damage. It can cause trees to come down. It can cause power outages. And we have seen power outages across much of the area. Earlier, Hamblin County, we did have 900. Now we're seeing 1,000, over 100 up into Bell County, Kentucky. I imagine these will continue to increase as well as these storms move through Anderson and Knox. We had some just west of Oak Ridge. I think we were 38 last time we checked with Anderson Electric. So little impact, at least compared to earlier, but I would not be surprised if we had some higher totals come in. But again, these two cells, they've been quite hardy and have held their own. So we're about to expire the areas basically from the Blair community. So we're looking back through Roane County into extreme western Anderson County back towards Oak Ridge. It looks like that one will probably expire here at the top of the hour. And then further to the east, okay, so they just expired that one, but these are the two that we have left for the two individual cells. These both go until 2:45. So here's a wider perspective. The cell near Hardin Valley, that's going to track south and east and make its way basically right over some of the same areas that we've just seen the showers and storms come through. That's going to move in this direction. And then this cell will continue to make its way through south Knox County and probably at least northern sliver of Blount County and western Sevier County. And those both warnings go until 2:45. So they're both exact same expiration time at this time. Let's quickly put a track on a couple of these so we can get an update. This one in the west side there, that's back into Anderson County. So the first one that goes until 2:45, moving over the same spots. Solway 213, the Hardin Valley campus there at 2:14. That includes the elementary, middle, and high school. Pellissippi State just down the road. That's at 2:16, and Oak Ridge Estates at 2:18. Again, you can hear the rainfall at our downtown Knoxville studios. That's what we have over the top of us right through here. But really the heavier rain's even further south of that. So that's the first cell that we're watching. The other one just ahead of that, that's going to be the one in Knox County. That also expires at 2:45, and you can see some of the areas that could be impacted here. Knoxville Adventist School at 2:05, Mount Olive 2:06, the elementary school at the same time, Vestal School at 2:06, and then we're talking about parts of the Tennessee campus, the soccer stadium at 2:06, the softball stadium at the same time, Tom Black Track 2:07, and Lindsey Nelson at 2:07. So we're talking about the south side of Knoxville and the Tennessee campus as this is going to be making its way through. The top corner of your screen, that's our Embassy Suites hotel camera looking back towards the Tennessee campus. So you can just see that wall of rain that's moving through. So it's this rain that's moving through. Bottom camera, that's Alcoa Highway at Cumberland Avenue. That's going to be your TDOT SmartWay camera. So that's heading southbound on the left side and northbound on the right side of the screen there. So look at the ponding on the roads. That's the other thing that we have to deal with. Heavy rainfall that could lead to some flooding in some spots, especially with these storms moving over the same areas. Once this batch moves through a little bit later this evening, tomorrow does look quieter, but it's going to be steamy. It's going to feel more like summer once again, with temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and low 90s. But we're still focusing on these storms that are making their way through the area. Severe thunderstorm warning till 2:45. And this is basically going to be from downtown Knoxville southward, including the Tennessee campus. So again, we're talking about Mount Olive and the elementary school areas at 2:06. Many of the stadiums from the soccer stadium, softball, Lindsey Nelson, the baseball stadium, and Tom Black track, that's going to go until 2:07 as that's making its way through the south side. The storm back to the west, it's again making its way through West Knox County, so we still need to be in our safe areas here. The second storm, again, as I mentioned, coming back through the Hardin Valley campuses right at about 2:16, 2:15. So that's the elementary, middle, high schools, all the way down through Pellissippi State, Oak Ridge Estates at 2:20 as well. That's going to move kind of a little more into a southerly direction of due east, while this is moving a little more east and then slowly dropping to the southeast. So they're kind of riding along the same boundaries, but just not over the exact same paths that they just came through. But still, would not be surprised to see at least some more hail reports come out of the Hardin Valley area with this next round of rain. And Theo, as we talked about, rainfall rates easily an inch or more per hour. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had some 1 to 2 inch totals in some spots. That could cause some flooding in some low-lying areas as well.
That's right, especially since we're also seeing some of these storms train, like you mentioned. Some of the spots seeing the same areas, seeing the same amounts of rain, or same intensity of rain, I should say. Let's check out how much some of these areas have seen. Oak Ridge area, 2+ inches of rain. The Solway area, about 1 inch. Western Knox County, pretty much a line of 1 inch or so of rain. I have a few reports to report back to you as well. We have several trees down in the Sequoia Hills area, several trees down as well, near Kingston Pike in Knoxville, near the WVIK radio station, and then also Knox Alternative Education has lost part of their roof, according to a spotter. So that kind of makes it a little bit more real what we're talking about with the 50, 60 mile an hour winds, because it's pretty easy to see the severe warning. You might be under one several times a year, dozens of times a year possibly, and you blow it off and think, oh, it's not going to hit me. But we're seeing some real life damage, so that's why we kind of keep y'all updated with those type of things, with the hail, with the wind, just to make y'all aware that you need to be in your shelter, because this is a real situation going on even without the tornado on the ground. So tornado threat very low right now, but again, we're seeing a lot of rain. That's a very big concern, as this kind of keeps tracking over I-40, downtown Knoxville, not very great drainage where you have so much concrete. Seeing that on our Embassy Suites Skycam, just sheets of rain coming down, about 1 inch, 1.5 inch rainfall rates per hour. So where we're seeing those same storms over and over and over again, that's really my main concern there. And really this looks like for some spots where we've seen a ton of rain, this isn't over. We have even more back building, even more training, as we call it, back towards western Anderson County into Oliver Springs area, Oakdale, Blair. So these aren't severe, but they're still strong storms. They're still producing a lot of rainfall rates, a lot of water on the ground. Let's go ahead and zoom out to the entire area. We're not seeing a lot more severe storms other than in Knox, Anderson, and Monroe County, or Blount County, excuse me. But we are starting to see quite a few more storms as a whole, starting to get a little bit more steam up towards Middlesboro, down to Caryville, a few more blips in Cumberland County, just north and west of the Crossville area, south and east of the Jamestown area, south and west of Oneida as well. So all of these up here, north of our severe storms in Knox County, Blount County, and Anderson County, while those are not severe, they are starting to ramp up a little bit, and especially the ones out towards the plateau, Western Valley, That's where we didn't see as much of the rain this morning. We saw a little bit of that sun. So we're really going to be keeping a close eye on that for more intensification with some of those larger hailstones, some of that wind. Really, that's where I've been keeping an eye on, my eye on. But a lot of us not seeing rain at all. But don't worry, we do have more intensification, more redevelopment, I should say, that is happening right now. And it looks like what will happen is at least half of us will see additional storms as we go through this afternoon and this evening. A bit of a broken line will develop as we have a cold front up to our north and west. So that's kind of the broad view there, Ken, if you want to bring it back down into the Knox County area.
Yeah, I'm going to let you, if you don't mind, put up the Blunt Memorial Hospital camera there in feed number 1 here for just a minute. I want to focus on this, another batch of hail right between Hardin Valley Road, Lovell Road, and Pellissippi Parkway. Seeing that on the radar right now where that bright pink is. Most likely some at least penny size, if not larger size hail right there. So it's right along Pellissippi Parkway. That's what this white line is right through here. And this right there, the intersection is Hardin Valley Road. There's Lovell Road. So we're talking about the ball camp area, getting pretty close to the elementary school there with Middlebrook. So kind of where it intersects, we could be talking about, again, some large hail there. And then further to the east, still most likely seeing some hail right through here, south side of Knox County. Moreland Heights Elementary, over towards Mount Olive, Southbrook, Bonnie Kate, going to be some hail with that as well. That's our Blunt Memorial Hospital camera there over to the left. And most likely what we're doing is looking back towards the north and west from that. No, that's going to be northeast. So that's
north and slightly east.
So that's over the downtown Knoxville area. So that's from Blount County looking northeast towards the storm that's over South Knox County right now. Jeff, I know you mentioned we had some hail video in from Cherokee Country Club. Let me know when you get that. Okay, here we are. So that's the Cherokee Country Club area. You can see the sheets of rain that are falling. Looks like some very heavy rainfall on the green there. I think that's one of the putting greens, I think, there as you finish up before you go to the clubhouse. But some very large, heavy rainfall. Look at all the standing water. And that's, again, what we're talking about here. Rainfall rates over an inch, maybe up to 2 inches per hour with some of these storms moving through. That's going to be problematic as well. But the severe thunderstorm warnings we have, they're still going until 2:45. A couple cells, main cells we're watching, one through the west side of Knox County, back through the Ball Camp community right now, between Hardin Valley and Ball Camp, and then the one that's making its way through South Knox County. So those two cells, non-tornadic at this point, but easily could be seeing some winds gusting over 50, 60 miles per hour. Definitely some torrential rainfall, and we've seen hail maybe over an inch in diameter with some of these storms at times. I think the largest we've seen right around ping pong ball size that we're back. I think that was in the Solway community earlier. So it would be back here through Anderson County, right when you get to Knox County on that border. So these are the two cells, again, near Bonnie Kate Elementary right now. That's one of the cells that's moving through Knox County, the south side. So we're talking about Moreland Heights, 216, Dogwood Elementary, the same time, Island Home. So that's going to be just to the southeast of downtown Knoxville as you're getting over there towards Tennessee School for the Deaf as well. That's going to be around 219, and White's Village around 219 as well. So again, I'm not seeing the rotation with this like we had earlier, not the tight rotation. There could be some very broad rotation, but it's kind of held together. They're individual cells. This one and the one behind it that's in West Knoxville right now, we've seen them tracking kind of parallel to each other, moving just south of due east across the region. And heavy rainfall, where you see the darker colors, almost the black shading, it's where we most likely have the hail core or the better chance at seeing some hail. So we're near the Vestal community right now, moving east towards Newbert and Crossfield. So the time is here on the corner of your screen. That's going to be Colonial Village around 216, Island Home, as I mentioned, that's downtown about 219, and White's Village around 219. The other bottom corner here, TDOT Smartway cameras, once again, we're looking at Pellissippi Parkway, going north and southbound. The left-hand side, I think, is southbound that's coming back in, back down towards the airport. The one on the right is heading northward, going up towards Oak Ridge, and then I-40 is right there at the bottom of your screen. That was the area I showed you just moments ago on the radar back to the west with this that most likely had some hail with it. So that's the area right here that we're looking at on the TDOT SmartWay cameras, actually it's going to be just south of this. It's right where it intersects with I-40, so it's going to be right through here. Pellissippi and I-40, that's where that is. But just to the north of that, like a couple of exits up, that's where we're seeing some of that heavy rainfall. And it looks like now it could be heading over towards the Cedar Bluff area. There's Tate School of Discovery, so we're getting close to Middlebrook Pike. There's Cedar Bluff Elementary. So Bob Gray Road, if you're familiar with that, those are the areas where this hail core is moving towards now. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if we had hail maybe an inch in diameter or larger. So seeing a decent representation that we would be seeing some sort of hail right there. And there it is. There's the hail core with this storm between Plum Creek and the Ball Camp area as we speak right now, and that's moving towards the east. We're getting a lot of special weather statements coming out as well. Theo, if you see any other additional severe thunderstorm warnings that get popped out, just let me know. But right now I want to focus, that's the one that's in the west side of town. I'm not seeing the hail signature quite as bright. Well, there it is there. A little further to the north. So Anderson Elementary to Moreland Heights. So we're in South Knoxville now and east of Alcoa Highway. So Alcoa Highway is the white line running right through here going to the south. And then this is I-40 running through the downtown area. So it kind of puts it in perspective here. So we're just to the east side of the downtown Knoxville area. So heads up, this storm moving to the east. We're talking about Moreland Heights. That's going to be around 215. Sevier Home 218. Newbert Springs at 220. And could be some small hail with that, and also to the one to the west. These warnings, by the way, they're identical in expiration time. They go until 2:45, and it's for these two individual cells that continue to slide southeast. One thing I am noticing, these are not severe storms back towards the west, back into northern Roane County, southern Anderson, but it's rain that's been moving over the same area. So we could easily be talking about some flooding in some spots there. Further to the north, a couple of storms up into Claiborne County, Campbell County, but as we mentioned, these have been moving through some areas that were already worked over earlier today with storms that came through. So maybe not quite the intensity as they could have for areas that we're seeing to the south. And then notice another storm that's coming into Cumberland County. Theo, maybe want to check that camera as well for downtown Crossville and just kind of look to the northwest and see if that cell that's coming through with some heavy rain. But these are the only two warnings we have. This one's about to cross I-40 once again. So Jeff, maybe a good idea to look back towards the mall on I-40. That would probably be a decent camera with this cell. I don't know that we'd see much in the way of hail. So that's Pellissippi at Dutchtown, as we see over here. So that's some of the heavier rainfall moving through. Top corner, right-hand side, that's from our Blunt Memorial Hospital camera. That's looking north into this storm. So there's Maryville. So we're looking northeast into this storm. That's what we're seeing there in the top right-hand side of your screen. That's the heavy rainfall. That's going to be where the hail is coming down as well. But this is a TDOT SmartWay camera, again, Dutchtown at Pellissippi. So that would be exiting there as you'd go over towards CAK and Webb School that we're talking about. Still, just look at the water getting kicked up, the spray behind the cars and trucks. So watch out for hydroplaning as well. And again, I've said it before, I just want to stress, I know it's tempting. You want to go pick up your kids from school. You want them to be safe. They are safer where they are at school. The staff know the procedures for keeping the kids safe. The schools are built much better than most homes are. And then also you're not dealing with the traffic of trying to get out in these storms when it can be dangerous, whether we have hail, we have flooding, whether we have severe thunderstorm winds. This is our Crossville camera. That's atop City Hall. So this is looking back into the northwest. Another downpour type cell that we're seeing just making its way into the plateau. Not severe, but we're over towards Pomona Road, Baker Crossroads area. That's kind of where we're looking at. That's that cell. So downtown Crossville, looking back towards the north and west, probably getting some heavier rain over towards Stone Memorial High School as well. So our camera located right here in downtown, and we're looking back into the northwest into that cell. So that's another one that we will keep a close eye on. But as of right now, the only two warnings we have is going to be this cell that's making its way through West Knox County, right along Interstate 40, about to cross there between Pellissippi. That's the gold line here. So this is Pellissippi, and this is I-40. So that's where that area is. That's moving to the kind of east-southeast at this point. If we have anything to worry about for rotation-wise, I'm going to keep an eye on that little inflow area there. You can see the heavy rainfall. That's Walker Springs and I-40, so that's going to be over towards the mall, and that's going to be right where we have this very torrential rainfall making its way right across the interstate right now. And you can just see that pavement pounding kind of rains. It's really hard to see. Just make sure you're driving careful. Headlights on always. Not only is it the law, but it obviously helps other people to see you as well. It's not going to help you see, but it helps other cars to see where you are. So please don't forget to do that. The cell to the east looks like it's becoming more of a rainmaker. This one that's making its way towards Sevier County. Still going to be tracking it though, moving to the east from the Hendron community, heads up Seymour, Kings Academy as it's moving in your direction. Still could have some gusty winds with it, but I think the bigger impact is going to be very heavy rainfall. And speaking of that, looks like Bridgewater and I-40 over there. Look at the sheets of rain on our T-Dot SmartWay camera. And the top left again is the camera that's from downtown Maryville looking north. Not into this cell, but into the other one. But look at what we're talking about. Look at just the sheets of rain. Winds have to be gusting over 40 miles per hour, I'd say, minimum, with this storm as it's moving through. And this is the one that's crossing over the interstate right now as we speak.
Yeah, and Ken, we just got a new warning for Claiborne County.
Okay.
Claiborne, Granger, and Hancock County. This also has a tour possible with it for the new Tazewell area, Chestnut Ridge, Granger, Claiborne, and Hancock counties as this moves east at about 25 miles per hour. So east 25 miles an hour, severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag as same scenario with the Knox County, the Blount County, and the western Sevier County storms that we've been tracking for the last hour and a half.
Yeah, it looks like it would be just the area of concern just southwest of TNT, so Tazewell, New Tazewell area, pretty close to Claiborne County High School. This area right through here, I'm seeing some higher shear with that storm right through here. So there's Head of Barron, there's New Tazewell, Tazewell, Claiborne County High School. So that's the direction this is moving, kind of east there. So heads up Clouds Community, Duo 231, Snodgrass 231 as well, TNT Primary 236, Soldiers Memorial Middle at 237. So you need to be in your safe area, okay? A little bit higher virtual threat index as well coming up with that storm. But right through there, that's kind of just southeast of Lily Grove. There's Goen right there, so we're east of that. Starting to see some at least rotation with that. Let me show you what it looks like on the velocity or the reflectivity perspective actually. Going to be a little hard to tell simply because I will say where that's located. The radar beam right through here that's coming in Morristown hits the ridge right through here. So sometimes what happens is we can't see the lower parts of the storm, but we can definitely see the higher parts of the storm. You can kind of see where the ridge blocks the beam just slightly. Still does a great job of picking it up, but it may be a little more intense than what it's actually looking like here. So again, we have that severe thunderstorm warning he talked about. That's Claiborne County. That goes until 3 o'clock. You can see some of the areas here. So Bacchus 235, New Tazewell 235, and TNT Primary at 236. I want to go back further to the south so we can focus on these storms. I really want to focus on this one that's crossing I-40. That's what's at the bottom right-hand side of your screen there. That's going to be right there at Walker Springs, so close to the mall, and I-40 out towards basically between Cedar Bluff and the mall. That's where we're talking about. And it's right here in the middle of your screen near Bearden High School. That's where the rainfall you're looking at was this camera, the T-Dot SmartWay camera here. What's the new one there? Gallagher View. So same areas right through here. Heavy, heavy rainfall. Bearden High School right now probably getting some at least small hail with that. Again, if we have any rotation with this, it would be right through here. I'd say it's very broad. And what I mean by that, it would be a slow rotation of the cloud. It's not a tight rotation, kind of like the figure skater, right? Arms out, you don't go as fast. Arms in, you go faster. we're not seeing that. Arms are out basically with this storm right now, but we need to watch it in case arms come in, right? That's why we're keeping an eye on it. That's also why the Weather Service issued the severe thunderstorm warnings for these. This goes until 2:45, but they put a special amendment to it, or we call it a tag, at the end of the statement that says a tornado is possible with that. And that's kind of what they're saying. So if figure skater arms come in, then yeah, we may be seeing a bit of an issue with this. But as of right now, figure skater arms are out. Still a dangerous storm. Hail, maybe 1 inch in diameter or greater. Winds could be over 60 miles per hour. Kind of hard to see the communities here on the side of your screen, but I'm going to read them out to you. Bearden High School right about now. There we go. It looks like West Town Mall, 225, so right about now as well. West Hills Community at 226 and Galewood at 228. So that's where the storm is moving over. Again, if we had any rotation, it would be right there north of the Bluegrass area. But again, I'll stress, we've heard all Knox County schools are in their severe weather protocol. They're safe. The kids are safe, teachers are safe, faculty safe. We're okay. Don't rush out to try to pick up your kids. I know we're getting closer to dismissal time, but just wait. They will let you know, whether it's via text, however they do it, reverse calls to your homes. They'll let you know when it's safe for those kids to be picked up or when the buses will run. Buses obviously aren't going to run in this either. I mean, look at the bottom of the screen. That's what the roads look like right now. Walker Springs and I-40, extremely slow traffic with all this heavy rainfall coming in. Now the storm areas to the east of this that's making its way now to at least the western sections of Sevier County, not as potent as what it looked like earlier, but still some very heavy rainfall and some small hail with it. Theo, I'm going to have you focus on the storm up into Claiborne County and give me an update on that here in just a minute. But quickly, I just want to focus again. If we had any type of rotation, if there was going to be anything, it would be right through there in the Echo Valley area, Foxfire subdivision, Aldenwood Park, if we did. But again, I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out at this point and saying, hey, there is tight rotation with this. That's good. We don't want to see that. But it's just something I need to keep an eye on, because usually when you see this type of a signature show up on radar, it's because you're getting inflow into the storm. It's flowing in and rotating counterclockwise here at the base of this. Areas to the north, this is where you're seeing hail. So over Bearden High School right now, especially where you see the darker black shading, that's where we would have the possibility of hail. So over towards Rocky Hill, Westmoreland Heights, Rothwood, that's most likely some hail right through there. Westland Drive and North Shore, over towards Lions View Pike, and again, right back to the same areas up here, Cherokee Boulevard near the Country Club, same area where the cell came through earlier that we just had video of hail and heavy rain. Round 2 heading that way now. So Theo, I'm going to let you give me an update on the storm. We have another severe thunderstorm warning up towards the Claiborne County area, closer to Tazewell.
Yeah, Claiborne County, close to Tazewell. I want to give you all the list of towns. As Ken was saying, the VTI is up to a 2.7. So a decently strong storm with this. Not seeing a ton of rotation, but if the rotation there, it's just to the west of the town of Clouds, north of Lily Grove area. So Snodgrass at 231, New Tazewell at 234. And TNT Primary at 236, the Alpha School at 237. Let me show y'all the kind of that correlation. There we go. The reds, again, going away from the radar, or the greens going away from the radar, reds coming towards the radar. Not super tight rotation, just kind of in this general area here, just to the west of New Tazewell there, and Tazewell as well. Very, very broad general circulation, as Ken was talking about with the ice skater, arms out. That's what we'd like to see, as more of that broader rotation. But also, as Ken said, this is kind of behind a bit of a ridge there. It's really tough to tell, but these are some hills and even some mountains here just to the east. The radar is down south of these, so when it's looking up into the storm, it's kind of hitting some of those mountains and hills in the lower parts of that scan. So it's really tough to tell where that rotation is exactly in the storm and how intense it is in some of those lower portions of the storm. But still, with that rotation detector, we're still seeing at least some moderate rotation, kind of broad rotation in the New Tazewell area. Let's show you the reflectivity here, kind of showing just a general line. So at first glance, it's kind of one of those things where it's tough to tell that there is rotation without looking at the velocity, which is the wind going back and forth. But overall, just rain, very, very heavy sheets of rain, really stretching from about the Kentucky, the tri-state area, kind of Kentucky, Virginia, in Tennessee, all the way down to the Caryville, just east of Caryville, just east of the La Follette area as well. This is quite a bit north of the Maynardville area, but really the main concern there is in eastern Claiborne County, eventually Granger, northern portions of Granger County, and even into Hancock County, very, very far portions of southwestern Hancock County. Again, main area of concern is going to be just to the west of Clouds, just to the east and north of the Lily Grove area. Eventually, this broad rotation will be headed towards the community of Tazewell, Ken.
All right, Theo, just a quick update for you here. Wanted to show you about 2,000 customers without power now in Knox County, 200 in Hamblin. Would not be surprised if some of these, we start to see them go up a little bit. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Keeping an eye, really, some of the stronger cells. Now, a new warning just came out for Sevier County as this cell continues to move to the south and east. So that cell right there near Seymour Community Christian, 231, Seymour Junior High, 234, Middle School, 235, High School, 235 as well. So it's this cell, and that warning is going to go until 3:15. We're going to stay on just a little bit longer, make sure we're tracking especially this cell that looks the most impressive. That's just in the south side of Knox County, kind of just east of Pellissippi as we speak now. There's still going to be some hail right there near Rocky Hill. I'm pretty convinced of that. Just I don't know exactly the size of it, but that pretty impressive right through here where the dark shading is. That would be where our hail is. Right through here, if we had any type of a circulation, that would be where I would be worried about. So getting pretty close to Fox Hills as we speak. There's Dean Hill, Bearden Elementary, Pond Gap. So this warning goes until 2:45, another 15 minutes. So it's right over the Westtown Mall area now. Areas to the south of that heads up Bearden Middle, 232, and it's moving east at about 20. So there's really haven't changed much in their forward speed. They've been moving maybe just south of due east. They've been kind of sliding along a boundary, a couple of these cells. That's the most potent of the ones that I'm seeing right now, that one, and the ones to the east near Seymour. So the warning for now, back towards the east Knox County, I'd say you're in the clear. You're okay over there towards Riverdale, down towards Bonnie Kate, but we'll have to see if this cell holds together and if a new warning comes out. I got a feeling they're probably going to extend this warning maybe a little further to the east, kind of through here. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these same areas that are okay right now don't see one reissued soon behind this. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But so far, I'd say that's the most potent of the cells that's in our area between Montview and Galewood. Heads up Mount Olive Elementary School, Dean Hill 233 and Bearden Middle at 233, as well as these storms move to the east. Heavy rainfall near Eaton's Crossroads, that's where 40 and 75 split. As you go back out of Knox through Loudoun County, so some very heavy rainfall there, maybe even some small hail. And as we've been talking about, the storm to the north still has a severe thunderstorm warning on it for Claiborne County. Worst part of that cell looks like it's pretty close to downtown New Tazewell as we speak. So right through here, Chestnut Ridge, I'd say winds maybe up to 60 miles per hour. That's certainly possible. Alpha School 234, Walter State 234, TNT Primary at that same time, in Tazewell about 235. So knocking on the doorstep there. The intensity of that maybe has come down just a hair compared to where it was earlier, but I still would not be surprised if we had, at least some 40 plus mile per hour winds with that cell. Further to the south, we'll see what they're about to do with these warnings, Theo. If you read it there in the chat, let me know. But this
they just issued it there. It just popped up right now, and they actually bumped it up to golf ball sized hail.
Okay, so this is the most potent of the cells that we've been watching right through here, and where you see the darker pink to almost like purplish black shading, that's where we would have the larger hails, and they're saying maybe up to golf ball size hail with these cells moving through. So right through there, North Shore, Westland, heading towards the Timberlake community, Mockingbird Hill and Riverbend. This is where we could be talking about hail maybe maybe up to golf ball size. At least that's what they're estimating. It wouldn't surprise me to see it that large. We've already had histories of, $half size, at least quarter size. So again, the new warning goes until 3:15, and you can see that extends all the way down through northern sections of Blount County and western side of Sevier County. Now, this is near Bearden Middle School not too long ago. That's what I was talking about, the hail that moved through. So that's going to be right there. Bearden Middle's off of Middlebrook before you get to Westtown Mall, to put that into perspective. So yeah, it makes total sense. It was with this cell that we're tracking right now that has now kind of moved just east of that area. So hard to tell from that, but I would say that was at least nickel-sized hail, maybe getting close to quarter size, so probably just below an inch. Here's the Cedar Bluff area. We've got some video, I think, or at least a picture. Yeah, so this is video from Cedar Bluff of some heavy rain and hail. Look at the sheets of rain. That's what we were talking about, making it almost impossible to drive in when we have this type of rain that's moving through. So again, we appreciate the video, but please, let's just make sure you're in a safe spot when you do send it to us, okay? We don't want anybody to put themselves in danger. But new warning has gone up till 3:15, going to be with this cell that's kind of tracked off to the south and east. It's this area. It looks like this one's weakening some. That's kind of making its way over towards Catlettsburg. That one pushing into Sevier County right now, but this one I think still has been the main player because now it's starting to get into an environment that hasn't seen much in the way of rainfall, whereas the one to the north has, and it's probably a little less built up compared to the one here to the south. So this is kind of feeding off of energy that has been untapped. So there's plenty of it to work with. Between Wildwood, Oakview, and Cold Springs, there's Ella Joy, Klondike School. That's where this cell is moving towards. So again, pick out your community or where one be near you, and just let's make sure we're in our safe spots. Riverbend at 239, Fox Hills 240, Timberlake 241, and Beechwood at about 242. We're still seeing, showing a 90% chance of hail, so we're seeing that, and about a 70% chance that it's severe. And again, the definition of severe hail is 1 inch diameter or larger, so it could be close to that. As we talked about, the Weather Service mentioned maybe near golf ball size hail with some of these storms. Now, the camera that's over here to the top left-hand corner, that's Blount Memorial Hospital. I don't know if we can pan back a little bit further to the west, but that's the storm that we're looking into. So from the Maryville area south, we're looking, there's Maryville, we're looking due north into that storm. So yeah, there we go. So that's how dark it looks. That's this heavy rainfall and hail potential. And then off the bottom of our screen here, that looks like that's topside. Tools Bend Road and Pellissippi. Oh, right before you get to the river. Okay, that makes sense. So Pellissippi and Tools Bend. I think that's a new camera. I don't know that I've seen that one before. But that's along Pellissippi. So that's, again, some of the heavier rainfall as you're going back down through Blount County towards the airport there. But this is the main cell. That's the one we're looking at in the top right-hand corner of your screen from Blount County, looking northward into this very, very heavy rainfall. Gusty winds, 50, 60 miles per hour, certainly possible, and maybe some 1 inch diameter hail or larger. Some of the areas, again, topside at about 240, Mount Olive 242, Vestal at 246 as this continues to move to the east. And again, seeing levels that we call it a virtual threat index. Anytime it's over 3, especially getting up higher than that, it's of real concern for possible circulation or tornadoes. As of right now, it's been hovering below 3. It's in that 2.8 to 2.6 category. So that's telling me this is mainly going to be a wind and hail producing type storm. Maybe winds gusting 50, 60 miles per hour certainly seems possible. But heavy rainfall, you've seen it on the cameras there, the TDOT SmartWay cameras. It's going to be a slow go for the communities. Kids, I know we're getting close to getting out of school. They're safe where they are. Knox County still on their protocol with severe weather. They're keeping them safe. Don't head out until you are hearing from the schools that it's safe for them to go out, or buses will not be running either. And it's smart. We want to keep them in to make sure they're safe. Again, topside, I-40 at topside or 140 at topside, Pellissippi. That's what we're looking at the bottom right-hand corner. The top left-hand's from Blount Memorial Hospital south there in Maryville. and we're looking almost due north into this cell, and you can see just how dark it is. And you can see the rain shafts there on the right-hand corner of your screen. Just shows you how heavy that rain's going to be. A lot of moisture in the atmosphere for today. And that's another concern. Can't rule out the possibility of some flooding in some spots where these rain sheets continue to fall down. Easily some 1-inch plus totals in spots, some getting close to 2 inches. And with all the concrete around, that water doesn't have anywhere to go. It just kind of runs off, and it causes some concerns across the area. So this cell moving to the east, this is the one we'll keep an eye on. Maybe the last couple of scans looks a little weaker than it did, but we'll see. Looks like it was near Sky Ranch Airport, 240. That's going to be right down Alcoa Highway. Mount Olive at 242. And looks like Kingsley Station right about 244 as that's moving to the east. I want to quickly check. Let's just double check, make sure we're not seeing any standing out type rotation. I'm not with it at this point, which is good. Not seeing any major shear. That is good. It's mainly, I think, just going to be a heavy rainfall, gusty wind, hail producer the way this is looking at this point. I think if somebody can give me some direction up there, I think our plan was to stay on till 2:45, and then we will release it back to programming. But we will see. We'll keep that up to date. If anything else changes, we'll let you know. Couple more updates. This product is showing where the possibility of hail could be. So this cell certainly seems to be showing that near Catlettsburg Elementary School. Wilderness of the Smoky, so we're moving over towards the Sevierville area. Sevierville Golf Course right there, 245. Sevier Middle at 250. So heads up for that storm. Pretty good bet that could have some hail with it as that's moving to the east. We can take a look and see what kind the hail path has been. So this is over the past hour, and you can see how this cell, it did produce, pretty decent chance it produced hail all the way across the region there. That's the same cell now that's making its way into Sevier County. It probably crossed, some of that hail path crossed with this one as well that's to the south, that's making its way right on the border between Blount County and Knox County now. Just kind of shows you how extensive this storm has been. It's been very impressive as it's been moving off to the east, but the latest warning we have goes until 3:15, and that's going to be Sevier and Blount County. That's going to be the northeast part of Blount County and extreme western Sevier County, while the northern half of Sevier County also goes until 3:15 with this cell that's about to make its way into Sevierville itself. But this one has really, I'd say, been the storm with the most impressive view on radar. Hail, heavy rainfall, gusty winds, again, right at Sky Ranch Airport, which is right down Alcoa Highway. Mount Olive at 244, Bonnie Kate at 249. And it's still moving east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So they've been slow movers, so that's what's also caused the very heavy rainfall as well. Theo, the storm that's up into Claiborne County, how is it doing? We don't want to ignore that one that's up there close to the new Tazewell area. It's probably just east of that area now, still showing some pretty gusty winds and heavy rain.
Sean, pretty similar to what we had earlier with the VTI, that virtual threat index at 2.3, still clipping along there east-southeast at about 20-25 miles an hour. That's Claiborne County, just south of the Tazewell area, new Tazewell area. Claiborne County High School just to the south of that. That's where the area of circulation is. Very broad circulation. I'm not seeing a ton of it. There's a little bit more there. Starting to get more into that strong with our rotation category. That again, but with that lowest tilt level of the mountains, it probably is getting a little bit of interference with the mountains, as Ken was discussing earlier. But we are starting to see a little bit more of those reds and greens starting to touch a little bit more right along Highway 25 East, just south of Tower Road. That's where we have some pretty decent circulation. As Ken was mentioning, the ice skater, when those reds and greens are touching, that means you're pulling the air in together. That circulation is able to really start ramping up. So I'm going to continue to keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's right just east and southeast of Springdale Elementary. I'm actually going to put that track back on there. Call out all these cities, and you can see them on your screen as well. Claiborne County High School, that's pretty much now, just in a couple minutes as well. Springdale, 248, Beech Grove at 257, and then Thornhill, at 303. This will eventually be impacting places like Raven Hill, even eventually down the road in Bald Point, Bray, Fairview, as this approaches eastern portions of Claiborne County.
We still got severe thunderstorm warning for Sevier County. Watching this storm kind of making its way out of Knox, almost into northern Sevier County. Right where you see these brighter pinks shading, there's winds being estimated almost 50 miles per hour, between 45 and 50. So that's why, again, the severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. This can easily do damage. Technically, it's 58 miles per hour or greater constitutes a severe thunderstorm warning, but that said, we can still easily see damage with these types of winds. So Rockford over to Klondike School, Eagleton Elementary, heads up, you could be seeing easily some 45 to 50 mile per hour winds. Also keeping an eye on this storm that's in Sevier County, moving over Sevierville right now. And the far left-hand side of your screen, that's from our Anakeesta camera, and that's looking back into this cell. So that's from Gatlinburg, further to the south, looking north into this cell that's making its way into Sevierville along the Parkway right now. So it's right near Soaky Mountain Water Park, Wilderness at the Smokies, the Convention Center, the middle school, high school, right through that area right about now, producing some very heavy rainfall and the potential for some gusty winds, at least winds maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. And again, right there crossing the Parkway where you see that darker purple, almost black shading, that's going to be where our hail core could be. So right there near Old Douglas Dam Road, crossing right there, Winfield Dunn Parkway. So again, right along the Parkway there in Main Street there, north of us, downtown Sevierville. So right where Wilderness is, over towards Union Hill and south of Catlettsburg. That's where our hail core would be right about now, where that dark shading is. If I get a little bit closer, you can see some of these other streets that we're talking about. So Kellum Creek Road, looks like that's Allensville Road, Mount Drive, Conley Road, Cole Road, Hilltop Circle. That's right about where that hail core would be, where that brighter purple to almost black shading is. That's going to be some pretty serious heavy rainfall and certainly the possibility of some hail. But that warning goes until 3:15, so we're still about 30 minutes away from that expiring there as that storm's moving across the Parkway as we speak. So again, some of the areas right now, it's at Soaky Mountain Water Park and at Wilderness of the Smokies, all the way down through the Convention Center. And up next would be the high school, Sevier County High at 251 and Reagantown at 254. So good idea to go ahead and make sure they're in their safe spot as well as this storm's moving through. We don't want the kids leaving school here at the close to the 3 o'clock hour and getting into that cell with the potential for some really strong winds. The warning still continuing as well for this storm, southern Knox County going into northeastern Blount County. That goes until 3:15, and it's right now headed towards Beechwood, Sky Ranch Airport. Again, that's right there down Alcoa Highway. And then we're looking at Arrowhead at 250. Now this storm to the south, right across I-40 once again, near the Farragut area, seeing additional storms building back here. Not severe, but boy, we'll have to keep an eye on this one, I'd say. Heading right back towards Farragut Primary, Knoxville Christian School, and Concord Christian, as that's moving towards the Farragut area as we speak.
And Ken, that one's not severe, but we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Campbell County, Scott County, and Anderson County, pretty much right over the strongest part of it near Slick Rock, just north of the Lone Mountain area. This is not going to be a tornado possible tag one, but this is a up to 60 mile an hour wind gust threat and quarter-size hail threat as well. So Montgomery 307, Dean 310, Straight Fork at 312, eventually Smoky Junction, and then even going down towards Round Rock, Cove Creek, Caravel eventually in the threat of that. So this one, again, not the tornado possible tag, but still some decent winds with that. lots of wind gusts, especially in that Knox County storm that you were talking about, Ken. Really, any of these storms have that potential for those 50, 60 mile an hour plus winds. Seen even a little bit of damage with a few trees down, a few power lines down. That's why we have those power outages as well.
Yeah, and I think we're going to continue to see these storm chances as we go through the afternoon and into the evening, especially back to the west, kind of like what he's showing now back there into Campbell County, where some storms really didn't develop this morning. They were a little further north towards the Tennessee-Kentucky border, so those areas which haven't had storms yet, the atmosphere is ready to produce storms as a cold front is now entering those areas. So still two areas we're watching, one making its way towards Sevierville in Sevier County, and this one that's in South Knox County making its way into northern Blount. That black line is northern Blount and southern Knox County. Now we've got some pictures and some video to show you as well for some hail reports that we've had across the area earlier today. This is going to be in Oak Ridge earlier from the storm. This is what we were talking about, the winds easily gusting maybe up to 50 miles per hour, and you can see why the warnings were issued from this storm. That was the one that came through earlier, and that's what's left over. That storm is what's left over now in South Knox County and northern sections of Blount County. I think we also have some reports of hail. This is going to be in the Carnes community. You see some on the back deck there. It looks like a lot of it has shattered as it's fallen and hit the ground. But I'd say, hard to tell what size their hand is, but I'd say it's getting close to quarter size, if not maybe a little bigger than that, maybe the $half size hail that we had reports of across portions of the area. So again, anything over 1 inch in diameter is considered a severe hail. So obviously that's what has prompted the severe thunderstorm warnings with that hail. This one still could be producing some hail, definitely some gusty winds moving into Sevierville right now. So it's near the high school, 251. Looks like it's going to be Christian Academy of the Smokies at 254, and Cedar Bluff in Sevier County, not West Knoxville, but that's until 303. Excuse me, moving east at about 26 miles per hour. And yeah, there could be some hail with that cell as well. Another one we're keeping an eye on there in South Knox County. This severe thunderstorm warning, this goes until 3:15, and that cell is heading right towards Bonnie Cade at 250, South Doyle at 252, Klondike School 257, and Newbert at 258. So kind of a wider perspective here. We talked about the additional storms that could be developing throughout the day. I would guess that this is going to be the cold front back through here, this line that's going across the plateau. So until this moves through later this afternoon and evening, we're still going to see an opportunity for some additional storms developing across the area. And some of those could be severe, just like what we've seen with damaging wind gust and large hail, our biggest concern with these storms as they continue to move through. But most of these warnings we have, they're going to be through the 3 o'clock hour. I think the newest one that came up in Campbell and southern Scott County, that goes until 3:30, and here's some of those areas moving towards the I-75 corridor. I'd say our McLeod Mountain camera would be a good one to look at with that storm back towards the southwest. So heads up Dean at 3:06, and looks like Pee Wee Community at 3:18. All these have been pretty consistent in their movement east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So again, these warnings that we have for southern Knox County and also into Sevier County, these go until 3:15 as well. And these are mainly going to be producing hail, gusty winds. The good thing is, Theo, I've not seen a whole lot of rotation showing up with these storms in the past couple of hours, at least the past hour compared to earlier. What we're seeing more of is what we call wind signatures that we would see, like where these brighter pinks are. Winds could be in that 45 to 55 mile per hour range in that, which certainly can cause concern for producing some damage, and that's why these warnings still remain active here.
Yeah, so we're still talking about the southern Knox County storm. Even you were mentioning, Ken, the one closer towards Farragut starting to get ramped back up. Not severe yet, but I mean, look at how many storms we have back towards Oak Ridge. These places have already seen 2 of those severe storms down towards the Woodlawn area, really just kind of more speckled, almost like a paintbrush on a platter there. Really seeing a lot more storms. Some of these training storms back up to the north and west. really the flooding is going to be the main concern in areas like Oak Ridge, where we've seen 2-3 inches of rain along I-40 just to the west of downtown Knoxville as well. I want to give y'all that updated scan, all those counties, or all those towns, excuse me, in South Knox County, northern Blount County, as well as that northwestern portions of Sevier County. Klondike School here at 2:56, Woodfield Park at 3 o'clock, Crossfield at 3:01, and Bays Mountain Estates at 3:03, eventually closer towards Kings Academy, Knob Creek, closer towards that 3:10, 3:15 time frame. That virtual threat index is still hovering around the 2, so our computer at least still thinks, hey, there's probably a good chance there's hail with that, indicating that 100% chance of hail and then a 50-50 chance that it's severe. So really this is in that dime to $half type of range, maybe those quarter size, and even the National Weather Service thinking up to golf ball size at times with this storm. You can really see that black in there, indicating just some very intense rainfall and at least the chance that we have some of those hailstones as well. Again, wide range view, kind of looking at this as a big picture there. We have a lot of storms out and about. Not all of these are severe, but we kind of have a whole line stretching northern portions of our area, but then even a second line. We kind of had it, you mentioned at the about an hour ago, Ken, that there was kind of a boundary that these could ride along, and you're definitely right, there is a boundary. The dew points, which is our amount of moisture we measure, there's a big difference between pretty much right along I-40. South of I-40, they're approaching 70 degrees, which means very, very humid, almost tropical air mass, and then quite a bit lower humidity to the north of I-40. That's why we're kind of seeing that act as a boundary. Temperatures are also quite a bit warmer to the south as well. That means that those storms are able to kind of latch on to that boundary and start just moving right along it to the east. That's why we're seeing those training storms. That's why we're seeing 2-3 inches of rain. So really a lot of southwestern Knox County, Anderson County, and then eventually northwestern or northeastern Blount into Sevier County. Flooding is also going to be the concern, along with those very gusty winds and the very low-end tornado potential, Ken.
Yeah, and I think once that line that's to the northwest moves through along that cold front, maybe portions of the northern plateau of Kentucky will quiet down this evening. But areas to the south where you said there's more moisture, until that cold front gets through later tonight, there's still going to be an opportunity of some stronger storms to the south. Here's our power outages across the area. Knox County's really jumped up to over 7,000 customers now. Claiborne, Bell County, Whitley County, Kentucky, Hamlin, Hawkins, all at about 100 right now. So we've seen those go up as well. And these are the active severe thunderstorm warnings we have across the region. This one goes until 3:30 while the others go until 3:15 across the areas. We're sitting at 254 right now. And the biggest impact from these, they're going to be isolated damaging wind gusts and certainly the potential for some hail. We've already seen that where hail size could be over an inch in diameter. And again, if we put these into motion, I want to show you just from the past hour, you can kind of see how these have been sliding off to the east, but you can almost see that imaginary line which is probably the cold front right through here. So once that moves south, things will be much quieter this evening, areas to the north, but all the areas to the south, especially down south of I-40, as you go down towards Loudon, Madisonville, you've not seen those thunderstorms yet this afternoon. You're going to have that opportunity as we go a little bit later this evening. So let's continue to focus on the storms here. A couple of stops here, the one in Sevier County. Now it's made its way east of Sevierville. Heads up Sevier County High right about now. Christian Academy of the Smokies 257, New Center Elementary 305, Caton's Chapel School 306, and Caton itself at 307 as that continues to move east. If that holds together, I'd say 3:30-ish. We're getting close to the border there between Cocke County and Sevier County. Now this other cell, this was the same one that kind of rode the second batch of severe weather through West Knoxville back in the Hardin Valley area, still holding together, going through northern Blount County. This one is right over there near Bay Mountain Estates. Right about now, looks like Newbert 304 and Shook's Gap around 310. I will say the values continue to go down, bottom left-hand corner of your screen, so maybe showing at least some sign of stabilizing just a little bit. But that said, I'm also concerned, we've been saying this, storms that continue to move over the same areas like through here, That's a lot of rain we're continuing to see, where we've already had downpours earlier this afternoon. So as we get here into the rush hour, from picking up kids from school once they're dismissed to the actual rush hour itself, we could easily be talking about flooding in some spots. All right, new warning looks like this has come out now. This is going to go further east through Granger County, and it looks like northern sections of Hamlin County, and that's going to be until 3:45. So this storm looks like it's near Bray at 3:06, Mooresburg Springs at 3:17, and Yountown at about 3:18. So that's going to make its way again right through the northern sections of Hamlin County, but also northern portions of Granger County, and that's going to go until 3:45. So heads up, Bean Station immediately. That'll be knocking on your doorstep. So the back towards the Tazewell, New Tazewell area, this one goes until 3 o'clock, so it's literally about to expire now. You're in much better shape. Now you still have some heavy rainfall, and you're going to be having some lightning in the area, but compared to what we had earlier, I think we're doing much better, as that storm has now made its way into northern sections of Granger County and will go over into Hamlin and at least southern portions of Hawkins County. But that warning, the new one that just came out, that's going to go until 3:45. Also looks like maybe we have a new one that came out. This is going to include Knox County. Yeah, so they have now issued on the one we were watching that's moving once again over some of the same areas. This is going to be right there between Pellissippi and I-40. So this one will go until 3:45 as well. So this is the newest severe thunderstorm warning. Again, we're moving over the exact same areas, where this is the third batch that we're seeing that's making its way through. So right back to South College here at the top of the hour. Concord Woods 302. Looks like it's Honora Academy, that's at 303, and Ashley Oaks at about 304. Again, the virtual threat index, that VTI number, a little lower at 1.9, but we'll continue to watch it and see if that goes up and increases in value. But right now we're seeing about an 80% chance that this storm has hail, and about a 70% chance that it's severe hail, or meaning 1 inch in diameter or greater. But you can see we've kind of added to our warning. So even when this one expires at 3:15, the one that's for East Knox County, northern Blount and western Sevier counties, part of it's going to remain, as you can see, especially from downtown Knoxville to the south. All right, the bottom left-hand corner of yours, I-40 at Pellissippi. So this is the new warning that just came out, and this is what we were talking about. So that's just that pavement pounding kind of rain right through here. So the camera you're seeing in the bottom left-hand or bottom right-hand side of your screen, that's right through here. So that's right through Pellissippi. And well, you can barely even see the screen there. Torrential rainfall coming down there. So again, this is what we're dealing with, the possibility of slowdowns, traffic. I mean, you can't even see the road. That's impressive. Scary, but impressive. Again, this is the new warning that just came out for Knox County that goes until 3:45, and these are some of the areas that could be impacted by this. So that's I-40 and Pellissippi. At this point, I can't tell which direction's which. I think the right-hand side's going into Oak Ridge, and the left-hand's coming out of Oak Ridge back down towards Knoxville. Camera moving, obviously, because of the winds, right? Winds probably gusting 45 to 50 plus miles per hour, and that's again what's prompted the warning. Right through here is where we're seeing that camera. There's CAK, there's South College, so that's where that very heavy rainfall is. And this moving east, we're talking about Seven Oaks, about 302, Webb School, CAK, right about 302, 303. They're neighbors there. Looks like Cedar Bluff at 304, and the Gulfwood near the swimming pool there at 305 off of Cedar Bluff as well. So again, moving over some of the same areas, we're going to see some flooding concerns, but also you saw the very heavy rainfall, but gusty winds. Now, don't see that storm quite as strong as what it looked like earlier, but it's still, again, some extremely heavy rainfall. Now, this camera, again, we've just updated bottom left-hand corner. That's going to be just a little further east. Is that I-40, Jeff? Looks like I-40 just east of Pellissippi is what I'm guessing. So the left-hand or top side is going back west towards the Pellissippi area, while the right side's heading back towards downtown Knoxville. But you can just see the heavy rainfall, the spray getting kicked up. And then, by the way, the top left-hand corner or top right-hand corner of your screen, that's from our Anakeesta camera, and that's looking back towards some of the storms that are in Sevier County right now, the other storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning for it. So let's take a look at that one as well. We'll go a little further to the east and check out the one that's moving into the Cedar Bluff community now of Sevier County, not of Knox County, even though Cedar Bluff, Knox County has a severe thunderstorm warning as well. This is the one that goes until 3:15, another 15 minutes for Sevier County. We'll see if they extend that into portions of Cocke County. It wouldn't surprise me the way this has gone, but looks like it's near Caton's Chapel School, 309, Richardson Cove at 310, Jones Cove, 321, Sunset Gap at 326 as that storm continues to move east. So that one goes until 3:15. We still have this one that's basically made its way out of Knox County. This is the line right here between Knox, right here. This is Blount, and this is Sevier County. So right where they all come together is kind of the corner right where that warning is and where the worst part of the storm is. So that for Sevier County goes until 3:15. And some of the areas, again, could be impacted by this. We're talking about Bayview coming up at about 3:05, Shooks Gap 3:11, Seymour Heights and Seymour Christian right about 3:13, and Ellijoy at about 3:15. Again, biggest impacts with this, I'm going to say winds 50 plus miles per hour and maybe some hail 1 inch in diameter or greater, but also the threat for very, very heavy rainfall that could cause some flooding concerns, pretty much what we've seen throughout the day. And again, where the storm just moved through Sevier County, the one that's to my back here, this is going to be moving very close to the same spot. So even though Sevierville, you're about to come out of the warning, this next one's about to come through with additional winds, with additional rain, with additional possibilities of hail. And that's kind of what we've seen here over the past couple of hours. The storms have been moving over the same area. So you get a couple of waves of severe storms, you get a couple of waves of wind, you get a couple of waves of locally heavy rainfall that could lead to some flooding as well. Theo, what are the storms looking like areas to the north? We've been keeping an eye on the storms to the south, especially Knoxville and Sevier County, but areas to the north, I know we still have some warnings for the portions of Scott and Campbell County. So how are we doing there?
That's right, Ken. I've been keeping an eye on that. I was trying to get the McLeod Mountain camera pulled up. It looks like that's down, but we do have the Gatlinburg cameras to keep looking at in Blount County. We'll look at here in a few minutes as well, as we still have those storms moving across Blount and Sevier County looking pretty impressive. VTI, Virtual Threat Index 2.1 on really both of these kind of cells here in Campbell County, closer to Slick Rock there, really an isolated area of a downpour, and then closer to Smoky Junction, just north of the Brookside area, and it looks like they just canceled that warning. So still 30, 40, even up to 50 mile an hour wind gusts, but they canceled that warning because we're not seeing that 58 plus mile an hour wind gust that is associated with the severe thunderstorm warning. Still some pea-sized hail also possible in some of these darker colors, but again, not to severe criteria. So I'll send it back to you for that Blount County storm, Ken.
All right, yeah, so we're talking about northern side of Blount County, a couple of storms here. One is tracking between Pellissippi and I-40, so that's going to be in southern Knox County right through here. And then we have a storm that's in northeast Blount County about to make its way into Sevier County, pretty close to 411. And then the third one is racing now out of Sevier County and approaching sections of western Cocke County. So the three main cells that we're keeping an eye on, the Sevier County storm, this officially goes until 3:15, as does the one to the west, but the one there just east of Pellissippi and south of 40 in West Knoxville over towards Bluegrass, that goes until 3:45. Now, the camera you're looking at in the top right, that's from Blount Memorial Hospital, and I think what we're looking at, I'm going to kind of guess here, that's going to be off towards the northeast. I think that's where we're looking, so we're going to be looking towards this storm here. So the one that's to the northeast of downtown Maryville, and that's going to be tracking into western Sevier County right along Highway 411. So again, I'm not seeing rotation with these at this time, which is good. That's why they have severe thunderstorm warnings listed on them and not tornado warnings like we had earlier. We're not seeing the rotation as we did, but anywhere where you see these brighter reds really starting to pop now on the radar, this is where we could see winds over 50 miles per hour in spots. I'll try to kind of click on these. There's a 30, 31, and then areas just north of Laurel, there's 38. But we could easily be seeing winds stronger than that in some of these storms, and that's what's prompted the severe thunderstorm warning. Theo showed you the warnings that we had earlier to the north, southern Scott through Campbell, and I think it included even portions of Anderson County. This severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped. I think part of the reason is the storms we had earlier this morning there to the north really worked over the atmosphere. The atmosphere is tired. It hasn't had a chance to recover from the storms we had this morning, while areas along and south of I-40, they didn't see morning storms. They had the ones this afternoon and they've fed off of it. My concern now is with the cold front coming across the plateau, areas to the south has not had anything today. So it's warm, it's humid, the environment's right. We'll have to watch to see if some of these storms on the plateau, if they're moving southward, kind of feed off the energy that's down there and help to develop a few more storms. I think that's certainly going to be a possibility as we go over the next several hours. I want to show you the current warnings that we have, everything in yellow showing up. These are severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. So the southern half of Knox County, that one goes until 3:45, and then these go until 3:15 for northeastern sections of Blount, western Sevier, and much of central sections of Sevier County. Also, what we've seen really is a lot of power outages across the area, over 7,000 in Knox County, and then 100 really from Whitley, Bell County, Kentucky, Claiborne, and also Hamlin and Hawkins County. So we've had a lot of power outages, winds very strong across the area that have produced that. Would not be surprised if we continue to get reports of these as we go through the evening with some of these additional storms. All right, let's take a look at our Anakeesta camera. Oh, that's an impressive looking cell right there.
I actually have a report on that storm. That one's probably one of our strongest right now, right along Dolly Parton Parkway. We got several trees down blocking three lanes westbound there in Sevier County. So that's the one, yes, looking north and east.
Okay, so this is going to be the storm that's over the Cedar Bluff area near Richardson Cove. That's this cell. This is what we're looking at. So Gatlinburg's down here. So this storm they just issued a new warning on that too, by the way, Theo. So that's where we are looking north into that storm, an impressive structure. Again, the new warning has just come out. So this is, as I mentioned, it's going to include the eastern side of Sevier County all the way through Cocke County, especially from Cosby southward. And that's going to go until 4 o'clock. So that storm, again, moving east at about 25 miles per hour, so slow moving. I'm not seeing rotation with these, which is, again, great to see, but easily we could be talking about some 45 to 55 mile per hour winds and hail. Going to be a pretty good bet with some of these storms. In fact, you can see that there near Cedar Bluff. The brighter the yellows, almost into oranges. If you look at the legend at the top right-hand side of your screen, you can see that that's getting a little more close to the likely scale. Same with a couple of these cells back into northeast Blount County, and then the warning that's still in West Knox County, right along Interstate 40 in Pellissippi, those two cells there. So 3 separate cells, 3 possibilities of hail with each of those. Further to the north, that one as well, going through Bean Station. Looks like pretty good chance for seeing some hail there. Right now, that is in Granger County, at least northern sections of Granger, about to make its way over into Hawkins County, and I think this would include northern Hamlin as well. That goes until 3:45, so we don't want to forget about you to the north. Let's put a track on that. Tate Springs, 310. Kingswood Academy, 317, Mooresburg Springs, 325, Mooresburg itself at the same time, and Cherokee Park at 326. Again, what we're looking at is the hail potential only within that storm, and you can see a pretty good little core right there headed towards Bean Station. want to look at the rainfall rates with this. Very heavy as well, right there in the brighter pinks. Maybe the best opportunity for hail looks like it's going to be just near Meadow Branch and Bean Station, kind of where these brighter pinks are. Heads up Crosby, Kingswood Academy. Some hail headed your way. Definitely going to be some gusty winds, but that's one of the higher threat index values we've seen. That's up to about a 2.8 right there across the area. So that's something we'll keep a close eye on as well as the storm's moving southeast. I'll quickly look. I don't think we have much in the way of any type of a circulation with this. It's probably more just a wind threat as this is moving to the east, but that in itself obviously needs to be taken very seriously. We could be talking about winds gusting, as I mentioned, over 50 miles per hour as that's making its way through portions of northern Granger and almost into Hawkins County at this point. That goes until 3:45. Interesting little display there. I want to keep an eye on that. I think that could be an erroneous plot there, that circulation plot there. So not concerned with that at this point, but I will keep a close eye on that. It's not placed correctly where we have the velocity and the reflectivity showing up. So just talking out loud here, I want to keep an eye on that. Sometimes the little circles that show up give us an indication of where we could have rotation, but that's most likely in the upper levels, like we're talking aloft, higher up in the atmosphere, not down close to the surface. We're watching this cell as well, approaching I-75. This had a warning on it earlier, south of Caryville. Looks like it's heading into northwestern sections of Anderson County up I-75, so close to Norris, could be close to the Briceville community, but not severe, but it's showing at least some signs of getting a little better organized right now. That storm's near Pee Wee at 316, Vasper 326, Disney community coming up at 328, and Briceville, as I mentioned, the elementary school. Cute little school there, been there before, 329, it's headed your way. Very hilly community there in Briceville as well, so if you get these downpours of rain, very prone to some flooding down there in the lower elevations, so please keep that in mind. And we've seen that, all these storms have been moving over the same areas, especially where we have all these warnings lined up. So as these storms have been moving through, I'll put this into a loop just from the past 2 hours, and you can see they've been moving over the same area. So we've just been getting a lot of rainfall in a short amount of time through some of these same areas, and that's certainly problematic with areas that aren't draining as well across the area. I'm going to quickly take the warnings off, but what I want to look at is our rainfall estimates that we could have been seeing from some of these storms. And we're seeing some pretty high totals, especially back here through Anderson County, Morgan County. We're seeing totals being estimated over 3.5, maybe 4 inches of rainfall with these storms that have come through today. And that's what we were talking about. Easily could be causing some concerns with some flooding there. So we'll go back quickly and get an update for you. It looks like a couple of more warnings have come out as well. A little bit further to the south here. South this cell, so that's going to go until 4:15. So the storm now in East Sevier County goes until 4 o'clock through Cocke County, but now they've extended the one that's now in northwest Sevier County that's moving eastward, headed towards Dollywood, Pigeon Forge area, and even eventually Gatlinburg. This one is going to go until 4:15, so it's this same cell that we're watching that's been moving through. The one back into West Knoxville, not looking quite as pronounced as it did. The hail core has come down a bit just east of the Pellissippi Parkway area, but the storm just south of 411 in western Sevier County still looks pretty impressive at this point, as does the one that's about to make its way into the Sevier Cocke County border. So that's why the warnings have continued for that one. I mentioned this one to the north in southern Campbell County. No warning on it, but that one may need to be watched, at least for the next new warning coming out. And that little appendage there at the bottom is something worth watching as well. But let's just keep an eye on this one. Theo, I'm going to let you watch that one. I think that could be our next severe thunderstorm warning. We'll see. The Disney community at 322, Briceville Elementary 322, Lake City and the middle school at 324. That would also be pretty close to Norris as well. So again, no warning on that, but couple of things that have grabbed my attention, the hail core here, but also the potential that we're seeing maybe just a slight inflow right through there. I'm not seeing anything really showing up on the shear rate or on the velocity. Looks very weak at this point, but just something to keep an eye on as this storm kind of moves east through portions of Anderson County. So Theo, I'll let you keep an eye on that. You can probably hear the rainfall once again on our rooftops. But most of the other warnings now have expired. It's a little less cluttered. These are basically going to go until 4:15 now. That will include the Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area.
And Ken, you were talking about some of those 40, 50 mile an hour wind gusts. In Sevierville, we actually had a report of 53 mile an hour winds. That would be, there's Sevierville right there. And that would be this storm associated with that. So some of those bright reds, that's more of that outflow type of wind gusting out of the storm. So that's really what we're concerned about seeing at the top right of your screen. That's the live look of that storm as it kind of made its way across central and northern parts of Sevier County, now moving into Cocke County, Cosby Elementary, the city of Cosby as well, and even into Bluffton. Really, this looks like it's going to move along I-40. So if you're along I-40 in Cocke County, just to the west of the foothills of the Smokies, that's going to be a little bit of an area of concern, very easily floodable, and then also those 40, 50 mile an hour wind gusts. Again, a report of 53 mile an hour wind gusts at the Sevier airport.
The Knox County warning we had has been canceled, so the Knox County warning has been canceled. But boy, that's still some very heavy rainfall on the south side of Knoxville. So this area back here where we had the warning, they have dismissed it. But still, watch for some very heavy rainfall along Interstate 40, heading over towards Alcoa Highway. Very heavy rainfall there. Still some warnings through Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and Sevier County till 4:15, and this cell that Theo just mentioned about to cross from Sevier over into Cocke County. I want to focus on this one to the north up towards Bean Station, heading into Hamblin County now. This one's still pretty impressive. Wyatt Village at about 319, Mooresburg 324, Cardinal Hills at about 332. Looks like they're about to extend this. Yeah, so they kind of trimmed back part of that. So it looks like Granger County, you are in the clear now, but it's still ongoing for extreme southern Hancock County. Hawkins County, excuse me, that goes until 3:45, but it also does include portions of Hawkins County. So southern Hawkins, southern Hancock, and northern sections of Hamlin County. It barely clips Granger County, to be honest. It's near Bean Station now. But if you're back towards the Rutledge area, Blaine, you're fine. It's areas to the extreme northeast Granger County that are still under that, and that warning goes until 3:45. The areas we're looking at right through here, heavy rainfall. It almost looks like it's what I call bowing out. So maybe some very strong winds with that. You kind of think of a backwards letter C. So that's probably kind of what we're seeing here with this storm. So winds could certainly be an issue. Meadow Branch 320, Lakeshore Estates 328, Lakemont Cabin area at 331, and East Manor right about 332. So again, moving east at about 25 miles per hour, kind of just south of due east. So they have it east-southeast at about 25 miles per hour. Again, pretty good probability that there's hail, and a pretty good probability we're seeing severe hail, or greater than 1 inch in diameter or greater than the size of a quarter. I want to quickly look inside this storm once again for just the wind, what the wind signatures are looking like, and it definitely is looking like a strong wind potential where you see these really bright greens showing up. Those are going to be our strong winds, getting close to 50 miles per hour, and that's showing up here. If you're seeing the negative number there, all that means is that it's the winds that are going away from the radar site, so or towards the radar site rather. So we're seeing pretty strong winds there as the radar site's just down below us, but we're still seeing close to 50 mile per hour winds that easily could be doing damage in some of these areas. So we're talking about right on the border between Granger County, at least northeast Granger County, Hawkins County, and western sections of Hamlin County. So really, really gusty winds right through here. These areas, Mooresburg right about now, looks like Cane Mill 332, Whitesburg, the downtown, and the elementary school at about 336, and Ninny at about 338. It's actually come up a little bit, that threat index, to a 3, and it's probably because of those gusty wind potentials that I was talking about moving through. I don't think we have a huge hail signature showing a little better, this last little scan that came in. So maybe once again we're talking about some hail close to 1 inch in diameter right there at the base of the lake. So heading into Hamblin County right now, kind of right on the border there near the Lakeway region. The past hour, it's definitely had a history of producing hail. Look how it came out of Claiborne County and moved southeastward now through northern Granger County. So everything in that darker purple, if you look at the top right-hand side of your screen in the legend, it's saying probable to likely possibility of that cell having hail over the past few hours as that has moved through. And now Cane Mill, heads up, you're probably seeing some of the gustier winds about to head your way there in Hamblin County. Really, really gusty winds with this. Lighter the green, almost the blue at times, that's where our strongest winds are gonna be. So right there between Bean Station and the Galbraith area, that's where we've got some winds probably close to 50 miles per hour. There's a 53. A little further south, 54. So anything through here, we're talking about some really strong winds. So heads up, need more. Russellville Elementary over towards Ninny, we talked about that in the storm track, and East Ridge Middle as we're going through. That's going to be in the Hamlin County community there. The really strong winds right there in that Tri-County area. And that has prompted that warning that goes until 3:45. A little further to the south, still seeing some strong winds here. Another roundabout to head into the Pigeon Forge area. So if you're visiting from out of town, if you're in Sevierville, you're probably going to be just clipped by this one. I'd say the cell further to the south, so from the split there, from the Dollywood Splash Country down through Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, you're in line to see some of this next round of the stronger winds. And again, where we're seeing these brighter pink shadings, those are getting close to that 45 to maybe 50 mile per hour wind gust as well. So between Little Cove and Hatchertown, Line Springs and Greenbrier, you're kind of in the line of that with a lot of trees in the Smokies there. That could certainly be a problem. But this one's moving east, again, right there towards the split. It's going to be near Cove Creek Estates, 333, Pigeon Forge, Middle and High at 336, and downtown Pigeon Forge at about 341. I think the tail end of this is going to end up clipping the Gatlinburg area, but I'd say that the worst part of that storm is going to be probably closer to Pigeon Forge, especially where you see that brighter pink. Once again, these areas through here is where you're going to have the hail core, while this bowing out area that kind of looks like the backwards letter C, if you will, that's where we're seeing the strong winds coming through. So hail core here, a wall of wind pushing out ahead of that. So heads up Splash Country, Pigeon Forge, downtown, and it probably is going to clip at least the north side of the Gatlinburg area as this comes through. But hail, gusty winds, and that warning itself, that goes until 4:15. And again, here are some of those areas that could be impacted by that. Henderson Springs, 335. Pigeon Forge High at 335, the middle at 336, and downtown about 340. So that's what's pushing your way in the next 10 minutes. So let's make sure you're in your safe spot as that's coming through, moving east at about 24 miles per hour. We were talking about the storm that's a little further to the north and west, almost towards the Bryceville area of Anderson County. Theo, has that storm shown any more development, or is it still pretty quiet? What about other things up to the north and west? We don't want to just focus on the storms here to the south. We still have some back to the north and west as well.
Yeah, those storms, not severe, not even a special weather statement on it yet, but I do think that 30, 40 mile an hour gusts could not be ruled out. Here's that one Ken was talking about just west of Norris. So Norris heads up, crossing I-75 right now. Cumberland View Estates, 329, Norris Park at 336. Really, these are going to be, main threat I think is going to be a lot of lightning and even some isolated flooding concerns. Because we've seen a lot of rain, these are still very heavy rain makers. I think mainly north of I-40 where we've seen a lot of rain. If you've seen it this morning, if you've seen it earlier this afternoon, these are going to be mainly heavy rain producers because, as Ken said, the atmosphere is a little bit worked over, not quite as much energy. Now, that doesn't mean we can't completely rule out a few more severe thunderstorm warnings with 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts and some of that larger hail as well. But generally speaking, up towards Norris, Caryville, up towards La Follette area, all of these storms, while they are a little bit strong, they're not quite as strong as some of those severe storms we are watching. But I'm continuing to keep an eye on it, and if they do go warned, then we'll definitely jump back on those, Ken.
I think what we'll probably be seeing here shortly, Theo, is this cell that's in eastern, Sevier, western sections of Cocke County. I got a feeling they're going to go ahead and they'll drop this soon. That cell has weakened dramatically, thankfully, over the past 15 minutes, but not the one that's further to the south. We talked about this one knocking on the doorstep of the Pigeon Forge area. That's going to be producing probably some hail, I'd say maybe close to quarter size in diameter. So that cell that we're watching right through here that continues to move east. So there's Pigeon Forge, there's Gatlinburg. I think the worst part of this may end up staying just north of Gatlinburg, but you may still get some of the winds from that blowing through. But anywhere really from Christian Academy, yeah, it looks like they just dropped it. So that made sense. The one that was further to the east going into Cocke County, they cleared that warning. So this will be the only one left at this point for Sevier County. And Theo, I'll have you continue to look at the one north up into Hamlin County. I think those are the only two warnings that we have left, which is good for now. This one goes until 4:15. I think we have a little bit of video we can show you from earlier today, these cells as they made their way through West Knox County, especially some of the just downpours of rain that we saw in West Knoxville. Where was this again, Jeff? This was just out of the West Knoxville area. That's all we have as a locator. But boy, that's the torrential rainfall, gusty winds. So that's near Westtown Mall. So that certainly lines up with what we showed you earlier with some of the storms that made their way through. All right, I don't know if we can keep an eye as well on the camera. I want to do that. The one that's from Anakeesta. Let's keep an eye on that one because looking from Gatlinburg, let's see if that's back towards that storm. Theo, you might have to adjust that just a little bit, maybe look back towards the north and west. Not sure if that's the direction we're looking with that. There we go. We're turning that just a little bit.
You can see it here in a sec.
Okay, yeah, that's a well-pronounced storm there. So again, we're in Gatlinburg at Anakeesta looking back to the northwest into that storm. That's what's going to be pushing through. Again, it may just miss at least the northern part of Gatlinburg. It'll be close. I bet you'll still get some winds. Heaviest rainfall, it's going to be up towards Pigeon Forge and just below the Sevierville area right now. So there's Sevierville, there's Pigeon Forge, there's Gatlinburg. So kind of right down the parkway, especially where it splits. That's where you're going to get that really heavy rainfall going from Pigeon Forge just north of the Gatlinburg area, right along the spur there. So we're talking about communities, Little Cove, looks like you're headed your way about 3:30. Pigeon Forge Middle and High School at about 3:33. Pigeon Forge downtown at about 3:36, and looks like Dollywood at about 3:39. So I'm sure they're probably getting everybody from Dollywood into a safe spot as you're going to be heading that way probably in less than about 10 minutes. Bottom left-hand corner of your screen, give me an idea of where that is, Jeff. Is that I-40? Pellissippi at Mabry Hood, that's what we're looking at. So it looks a little better there. Pavement's still damp, obviously, and we're still going to see some shower and storm chances. The biggest question we have still at this point is how much energy is left for severe storm threat the rest of today. I still think areas to the south could be a bit of a concern south of I-40 as you go down through Loudoun County. I think that's going to be a bit of an issue as they've not had much in the way of shower or thunderstorm activity. So these areas where we're just kind of seeing some of these storms develop now, this is where we'll have to watch as we go over the next couple of hours. So areas to the south. Back to the north and west, I don't think we will see much in the way of a severe threat. Especially across the plateau. I think it's hard to tell without looking at a surface map, but I think this is probably where our cold front is now across the plateau. So what we're going to do at this time, this is our lone warning that we have that's going through the Pigeon Forge area right now. We are going to go back to regular scheduled programming here, and we're going to keep the crawl running at the bottom of your screen. But I do want you to make sure you join us coming up today at 4 o'clock for 6 on Your Side News. So what we're going to be doing here, again, is we're going to watch these storms carefully, but we are going to join you again coming up at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock. But if there are any other severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings that need to be covered, we will certainly come back and join you on air. But for the meantime, most of the activity will be scrolling there at the bottom of your screen. This is the main storm we're keeping an eye on right there in Sevier County. That warning goes until 4:15. But again, we'll see you coming up here at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock.